Pharaoh's right about the shoe. The shoe was not the same in the picture in court as the shoe pulled from the evidence bag by Trooper Bukake.
And you mentioned you're at the hospital. There was a sneaker. One.
Yes.
Bukake! Bukake!
Woo! Good evening, my friends, and good evening to X, formerly known as Twitter. It's good to be back. Thank you for watching. Thank you for following, and a big shout out to all of you who are following as well, and to Mr. Media himself, my homie Aiden Carney, Dr. Turtleboy, for sharing it and pretty much getting me pretty much right back where I was. I mean, I had 10,000 followers when I got booted off of X. But now, I mean, since I started this account at lunch and like it's barely dinner time and I'm already almost at 1,000. So big shout out to Dr. Turtleboy for that. Thank you. So and listen, I missed it. I missed it so much. Listen, those of you, dude, that have been like, first of all you guys that have been showing me love, thank you guys so much. I love that shit. That means the world to me. That you guys are showing me love means the world to me. That everybody on X that have been showing me love or showing me love, it means a lot. And hold on, I got like schmutz here. Okay, there we go. And I got a dope ass new t-shirt. I don't want to like fuck it up. And what I also love, I love this shit is like that, like AI has really, like, in the months that I haven't been on Twitter, AI has really become more of a thing. And and I dude, the AI picks of like Mexican Jordans and fucked up teeth and the police reports that led to investigations that went fucking nowhere and all of these things. Keep them coming. I fucking love it. Like, please, 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 please keep them coming. I love that shit. I love that people are taking as much time as they are to make these little AI, because I enjoy making my little AI pictures too. And so I hope you're getting as much joy out of that as I am, because I'm really enjoying seeing them. So yeah, keep them coming. All the haters. Oh man, like it's nice to see all these people that are just so fucking scared. They're just so scared. Like, oh my God, he's back. What are we going to do? What are we going to do? He's back. I love that shit. Hold on, sorry. I absolutely love that shit. So here, I'll just share it here in the people are asking what my handle is. Well, let me just here you go. Like the second I show up, it's like, oh my God, you know that he beat his kid? You know that he is a woman beater? I love that shit. Keep it coming. I love it. So like, yeah, my phone's been blowing up all day with new followers, so it means a lot. You guys are the best. Oh, right on. Better was on Justice Surf TV. That's awesome. So now, those of you who are members, I hope that you packed a lunch, because it's going to be a fun, long evening. I'm going to do this stream, cover a couple of things, not in too much depth, but I'm going to cover a few things, and then I'm going to end this stream, and then I'll start the other one, give people a chance to become members. But there will be a petty stream to follow this one. There will be a a members only petty stream to follow this one. And so stay tuned, members. And if you're not members and you're interested in the petty streams, the link for the memberships is in the description. And the live stream is set up for after this one, and the membership link is pinned to the top of that chat. So I can absolutely actually, let me just go ahead and do that here. All right, so here's the link for later on's for the stream for later. Go ahead and give it a like. And Peaches, hold on, man. People are, I wasn't even on this page. People are already going nuts in here, man. Let's see. Jackie gifted a membership. Thank you so much. Vagina Mike Cryford is now a member. Welcome. Peaches just gifted another membership. Thank you. Oh my God, you guys are so generous with your gifts. Eth Joe gifted a membership, as well as, oh my God, you guys are, this is moving so fast. Stephanie gifted a membership as well. You guys are amazing. Yeah, I see some people are really hoping to get gifted a membership. I see that happening a lot. Southie Sally gifted 5 memberships. Oh my God. Now, try to now. Oh my. All right. So, also, what we're gonna do here? Let's chill out on that. Well, actually, since I shared the link, it's gonna happen. So if I miss some of you guys, I apologize because I really want to squeeze as much information from what I want to do here as I. Because there's a lot to go over. Holy shit, McMuffin just gifted 20 motherfucking membership. I'm never going to get to the content. Trust is love. Thank you for becoming a member. Appreciate you. All right. All right. So today, Alan Action Jackson, rock star, Hollywood lawyer, defended Karen Reed as lead counsel twice. And she was acquitted the second time, first time hung jury, excuse me. He was on Hot Mics with Billy Bush because he's got a lot going on, and him and Billy Bush are good buddies. And so I don't know if they're pickleball buddies. I feel like they are. I don't know. I get that feeling. Hey, Alan, Billy here. Just wanted to know if we were getting together for a little pickleball. You know how I want to do it. Are we going to make it interesting? What are we going to do? We're going to make it interesting. How about if I win, you've got to stuff your face with sausage and cigs, and I got to take a photo op for it, baby. No, I absolutely love Billy Bush. Like, all of his content has been great so far. I always just pop in his chat all the time. Steve's a really cool dude. His producer, he always highlights my comments, and I'm always really grateful for that. He's a really cool dude. Stephanie, thanks for showing me the real Cryford. Bye, Mike. Oh, you are welcome. It has been my pleasure. Welcome to Logic, Stephanie, as well. It has been my pleasure. Yes. Now, sausages. Sausages. Now, I'm going to go ahead and share this. We're going to watch a little bit of that. And then, oh, shit. Hold on, man. People, this is a monumental moment right here, folks, because I believe this person has earned this. Most definitely. And Fervent, welcome to the Blue Wrench Club, my friend. Fervent's got a blue wrench next to their name now, baby. Don't forget to subscribe to Fervent if you want all the quality comedy, baby. You want to laugh your ass off, a little LMAO. Little LMAO from Fervent. That's something you're always going to get. Now, today was especially special. And it was because Alan Jackson was on Hot Mics with Billy Bush, and he did something very, very, very selfless and very wonderful, and it was well deserved, of course. But it was finally nice to see that happen.
Great, you always do.
Well, you know what? I try. When I know I'm going to see you, I give it the little extra.
I got to speed this up
It's
because
it's gypsy water, body lotion. I know
Yeah.
it is. They should be paying you heavily for that.
They should. I get a wing on somebody's house.
I got to speed this up, baby, because we don't have all night. You know, I could look at AJ and I could look at Billy Bush all night, but unfortunately, we don't have that kind of time, baby.
The stuff. Yeah.
Well, boy, you've been through a lot.
It's been a busy week.
It's
busy
been-
week. Yeah.
Is it always this like busy and hectic? In your...
You know, it's. I would love to say this comes in fits and starts, but it's been pretty consistent through the last year or so. Yeah, we're busy. We're busy. I'm lucky. Knock on wood.
Is 25 the busiest year? Before has there been a year that's been more chaotic than this? You've represented all kinds of.
Well, I mean, look, if I go back to starting in 2022 when I first met this young lady named Karen Reed, my career and my life and my schedule and the rest of the team schedule has been like shot out of a cannon. So it hasn't slowed down. The last couple of years have been pretty chaotic, but it's good. Look, if you're in the business and I'm in, that's what you want. I want to be in the courtroom. I want to be fighting. I want to do the job that I was trained to do. So yeah, it's good.
And what people don't know about you, and we'll get into some of that. Just about your background. I mean, you literally come from nothing.
Pretty much.
Nothing.
Pretty much. Yeah. I was raised by a single mom in Texas and grew up very modestly, very much more modestly than people think. And ultimately, at 17, I joined the military, went into the Air Force for 4 years because I couldn't afford to go to college. So the military, God bless them, helped pay for college and ended up matriculating through the University of Texas after I got out of service.
Bro,
and then
I didn't even know that AJ served, bro. Like, how is it possible that that this guy makes me like him even more and more? How is that even fucking possible? I didn't think I could like this guy any more than I already did. And he's a veteran. That's amazing.
came out to California and went to Pepperdine. And the only thing I wanted to do from that,
Wait a
from the moment I walked into,
holy shit, people! Holy shit! Oh my god! People, Danielle just gifted 50 memberships, folks. 50 memberships. Holy shit. Oh, the petty is strong in you guys. The petty is strong in you guys, I'll tell you. Brit happens. Holy hail. Thank you all to all grifters and grifters. Yes. Yes, thank you for supporting the grift. Brit happens and all of you. Appreciate it. Because people, let's be honest, my grift game is strong. People, yes, let's continue to listen to Alan Action Jackson here.
a mock courtroom at Pepperdine on the campus. I knew I wanted to be in the trial courtroom. I did not want to be a transactional lawyer. I didn't want to do civil work if I could help it, because I know that civil lawyers, as difficult as that job is, they don't go to trial quite as much as criminal lawyers. And so I wanted to be in the trial courtroom as much as possible. So I gravitated toward the DA's office, and that was my training ground. That's where I learned to cut my teeth in a courtroom.
Any TV shows or anything like Matlock or anything that like inspired you when you were a young kid? Like, I want to be that guy.
Honestly, literally all of them, like all of the TV shows, in an amalgamation of them, I watched with great interest, because you can learn an enormous amount of technique and skill in the confines of a courtroom, the theater of a courtroom. So I've watched everything from Law and Order episodes to old Perry Mason episodes to Matlock episodes to movies. A few.
See, that's my boy right there. That's my boy right there. I got to tell you, man, like me and AJ, holy shit. She's like Texas, people. She's like Texas. Did it as well. I can't wrap my head around this. I just can't. I can't. Oh my God. $50 memberships, people. She's like Texas, gifted 50 memberships. It's amazing. Amazing. People, yeah, we're gonna have some fun tonight. Now, I gotta tell you, man, I had I had one of the most memorable and best first impressions of this dude right here when I met him. I like immediately, now he's telling you the truth, because immediately, like, we're sitting there, we're hanging out. Must have been, I mean, of course, I couldn't wait so long, but 10 minutes into a sitting down and eating, I was like, dude, I was like, what is it with Auntie Bev, dude? Like, what is it with Judge Bev? Why does she fucking hate you so much? Like, or is it just my imagination, or does she fucking hate you? You know, this was between the trials. Okay. This was after the first trial, before the second trial. And AJ's like, you know, I think it's just because, you know, the high profile lawyer from out west, California, it's just, it rubbed her the wrong way. Like, who do you think you are coming into my courtroom? You know, and I was like, yeah, you know, I was expecting a more complex answer, a more legal answer than that. But that was his that's what he was saying. And he goes, you know what it was? And then he does this. And I was just like, right there, that was when me and him were like this. Right there, he goes, you know what she's like? She was like, it's like, you know, you ever see A Few Good Men? You remember that time where Caffey goes down to Cuba and he meets with Jack Nicholson, and Nicholson is like, he's like, you know, when he asks him for the transfer order, Nicholson is like, and then as soon as he says it, as soon as he describes the scene, me and him are reciting the goddamn scene like in sync together. Like, we're looking each other in the eye and we're just like, I want you to stand there in your faggoty white uniform and your Harvard mouth and extend me some fucking courtesy. And like, we said that shit at the same time. And I was like, fucking love this guy, bro. We fucking fist bumped. And that was it. It was on. Me and AJ were homies. Not really. Like, I never got his number or anything. But there was a connection, bro. And I felt it. Trust me. Felt it. But I mean, he's speaking the truth here. He loves his fucking law movies. You know what I'm saying? Which is badass. Like, I love to hear that. I love, like, when the dopest lawyer is like, I watched movies, bro. Yeah, I watched movies, then I went to law school. But yeah, like, I learned some of the best shit watching Perry Mason, watching Law and Order. Dude, I have literally seen every episode of SVU. I am not caught up by one episode. I have literally seen every episode of Law and Order SVU. Okay? Make no mistake about it.
Good Men is a big one, which has gotten some notoriety of obviously of late. I think that's one of the best courtroom dramas
Directed by
Rob Reiner.
Rob Reiner.
Yeah.
What's interesting is there are people putting, you know, pen to paper now because of your work. TV shows are being written and procedurals and movie and you know, mostly on Karen.
Right.
Right. One of them is out with an actress I haven't heard of, but then there's more to come.
You mean you're talking about the Lifetime show?
Yeah.
The Lifetime movie?
There was a Lifetime
That
movie.
is the actress, Katie Cassidy.
Yeah.
Fantastic job. She did a great job. I saw the film over the weekend. She did a terrific job. She is David Cassidy's daughter.
Oh,
Who
that's
was
right.
doing
Okay, yeah.
Partridge. Right. It was
like-
uncanny.
The daughter of Hollywood royalty, if you didn't know.
Uncanny how the set designers, the production coordination of that film, the direction of that film, it was uncanny how they captured accurately, first of all, what Karen looked like, down to her shoes, down to her clothing that my character wore, down to the watch, and somebody found these bracelets. It was bizarre to watch. It was nuts.
They found your love bracelets?
Well, you call
Do those bracelets, hold those up for a second. Do those have meaning?
Well, they're designed by a guy named Din Vaughn.
Yeah. That's not petty, people. Okay, you get the petty after this. That's just shade. Shade's free. Okay, petty you got to pay for.
A Parisian designer who I found the first one.
Mystic Mimi,
in
welcome
France
to
when I was down in
Logic.
France many years ago. So I bought one, and then when I had my daughter, I bought the second one just to commemorate my love and adoration for her. So I wear these. I never take them off.
How old is she?
She's 6.
6.
6
You have
years
a
old.
6-year-old.
I have a 6-year-old. You're welcome.
That's why you're
and
in
I
such
run
good
this
shape.
business.
What's
God,
up,
you work as
Deanna
hard as you do. You're
Corby?
in sick shape chasing around a 6-year-old. That was complete discipline. Okay, so much to discuss, and but I do love the fact that a guy who grew up with absolutely nothing in Texas, you know, buys bracelets from someone named Din Vaughn. Can we just say that's America, baby?
That's
Take advantage
America.
of it. All right, as I laid out at the beginning there, Sunday, December 14th, as evening approaches, we all get the story on our phones, as happens, that Rob Reiner and his wife Michelle have been stabbed to death in their home. Immediately, I was at the Rams football game that afternoon. I was having dinner with some guys afterwards, and I looked at it, and just because I had interviewed.
Listen, I'm a big Rob Reiner fan, and I'm pissed off about his death, and I'm sad about his death. But I only have so much time, so we need to kind of just keep things moving here. No disrespect to Rob Reiner or his family. It's just that's not what we're covering today.
You accepted the job right away. That we know you accepted the job.
I got on a flight nearly immediately. I had to go to court before I could get on a flight, and I changed my flights and immediately to Los Angeles.
I am interested to hear what Alan Jackson has to say about it.
Unexpectedly. And then from that point forward, for the next
Buzzing for
weeks,
Truth.
it was
remember for 23 months.
And the entire team dropped everything to make sure that we were showing as much or giving as much of our energy to Nick as we possibly could.
So let me ask you, in a situation like that, what are the priorities here? Like what you're in New York, you're on a case, you're working. This comes in. It's like, let me wrap what I'm doing here. Not that case in New York is any less important to you.
It's not any less important.
But you know that this is something that's we're gonna have to get some legs underneath. I'm gonna have to go back and touch in with people. What's the list? For you when you're accepting a client and you're prioritizing where that person goes, are you looking for some? Because you've represented some people who are not overly sympathetic. You've represented some unlikable people. You don't seem to shy away from that. What is it that what boxes need to be checked in what order?
Well, every case is different. Obviously, every case is wildly different.
Now,
there's no two cases that sort of feed the same formula. There is no.
I didn't forget to do this. I just wanted to wait till I got a lot of people in here. But I need everyone to stop what they're doing right now and go give Billy Bush a like and a subscribe right now. Stop what you're doing. I just dropped the link in the chat. Make sure to like this video if you have not already. Do it now. I will wait while you do that, and make sure to subscribe as well to Hot Mics with Billy Bush, because Billy Bush is the man. I'll give you a moment. Yeah, there you go. Imagine, bro. Imagine if somebody, that's never happened. I don't think that's ever happened in the history of Jeopardy, where somebody was doing Final Jeopardy, they got the answer right away, immediately, because that's happened. But they get the answer right away, and then they just sit back, they stand there and just rock out to the Jeopardy music, like they're really feeling it. Because I'm really feeling the Jeopardy music, dude. I really am. I am. I love that shit.
Formula, but there are some hurdles. There's some landmarks, if you will, when you start defending a case. I could be brought on just before trial. I could be brought on when the case is nearly about to settle. I could be brought on at any point during the life of the arc of the case. So different priorities for each one of those circumstances. Sometimes you're brought on a case and it's complete and utter triage mode. That was this case, obviously. Drop everything, get back here, and start putting together as much as we can to envelop the client in the protections of the Constitution. That is what I have fealty to. So I couldn't care less. By the way, you mentioned, well, there's certain people that are brought on the case. So different priorities for each one of those circumstances. Sometimes you're brought on a case and it's complete and utter triage mode. That was this case, obviously. Drop everything, get back here, and start putting together as much as we can to envelop the client in the protections of the Constitution. That is what I have fealty to. So I couldn't care less. By the way, you mentioned, well, there's certain people that are not as popular that you've represented. My job is not a popularity contest. My job is to protect the Constitution, and I do it for any and every citizen that contacts me, and I'm hired by them.
But sometimes that deflects off onto you. Like, why would Alan Jackson, people don't get that. They don't care.
If it deflects off on me, then
why would you represent Harvey Weinstein? Why would you do anything with that man? Or Kevin Spacey, if they feel that way?
I can answer that. Simple answer. Because they have just as many rights as anybody else. They have a right to a fair trial. They have constitutional rights just like anybody else. Doesn't matter how much evidence is weighing against them. They have a right to a defense, period. Amber became a member. Thank you so much. And Mary B, been a glarer for a year, 12 months. I love it. Thank you so much.
every single person, every citizen in this country is entitled, before they are committed, right? Before they are committed to a prison cell, before they're committed to a conviction, before they're committed to a trial, every single citizen has the exact same series of constitutional rights, and they are embedded in the fabric of our society. It doesn't matter who you are. It doesn't matter what you're accused of. The government has to get it right every single time, right? They don't have to just get it right. They have to get it perfect every single time. So I don't discriminate between client to client, who did what, or to whom, when, and where. That is not for me to judge.
That's a judge's job, or a jury's job.
My judgment and my loyalty and my fealty, my focus, hyper focus, is on making sure that the government gets it right. At some point, Billy, there's a point at which the government intends in a criminal case, most criminal cases, if it includes a prison sentence, they intend to take the most valuable thing you have as a human being away from you. That is your liberty. You're sitting at that desk. Yep. You're sitting behind that microphone because you chose to, right? You drove here this morning because you chose to. Now, switch that.
See, that's my shit right there. That motherfucker's singing my song, bro. That's my shit right there. When I hear a lawyer, especially one like Alan Jackson, one with the kind of caliber that he has, it reminds me that he's not saying this shit because he has the caliber. He has the caliber because he believes the shit that he's saying. He is who he is, and he's where he's at because he believes in the shit that he's saying. And why the fuck should he not get the spoils from it? We get mad about people who get rich and successful for doing awful shit. This guy's defending the Constitution. This guy's passionate about everyone's equal right to their liberty.
You no longer get to choose what you wear in the morning. You're given a set of clothes by the government. You don't get to choose what time you wake up or go to bed or what you do for a living. You're in a cell. You're at the mercy of the government. They've taken away your liberty and your right to live a free life, right? That comes with consequences, meaning it comes with consequences for the government. Before they can take those rights away, you damn well better get it right. You better cross every T. You better dot every I. You better make no mistakes. You better not cut any corners. And that's where I step in. No matter who the citizen is, they're entitled to absolute protection under the Constitution. And I am, at least I like to think of myself and my team as the protectors of that Constitution and that citizen's rights.
So what was the most pressing issue with Nick? Of all the issues that could be was, this person could have their rights taken away, forget about the horrible thing he's accused of. Or was it, this is high profile, this is good for the business, we're going to,
No, I don't care about that. I don't know in advance what's going to be high profile and what's not. I mean, obviously, certain cases are going to get more media attention than others, but that doesn't,
right. Let's just be real here. Like I don't think that he knew, because the fact of the matter is the reason why people are talking about the Frazier bomb case is because Alan is representing him. That's why people are paying attention to that case. Now, what he's talking about, like obviously the Nick Reiner case is going to garner media attention due to the fact that his father was the victim, the fact that the victim was Rob Reiner and his wife. And Rob Reiner is Hollywood royalty. Yeah. Rob Reiner, David Cassidy, just saying. Just saying. More shade. You're welcome.
Into my decision making in terms of how I approach a case. I approach a case the same way every single time. Protect the client's interests. Protect against any potential government overreach. If the government gets it right, if they do everything exactly right, if the detectives get it exactly right, the prosecution gets it exactly right, the judge gets it exactly right, then good. That means the system's working. But in my career, that has literally never happened. They don't tend to get it right all the time. And when mistakes are made, they start to build on each other. And that's when people's rights are that's when they're compromised. And I that's what I can't stand for. So I don't sit and choose a client because it's high profile, because it's not high profile. I choose a client because there's a chemistry there between them and our team, and I feel like I can provide something of great importance to that person at that time in their life, and that is constitutional protection.
Okay, Steve, we're live on YouTube here. Comment section is ablaze. Go ahead. You get somebody who wants to ask a question.
Yeah, we have one from Dagny Taggart who was asking. This was kind of relative to what you're talking about with different cases. Does every case get its own support team?
Now, this dude right here, Steve, that's my dude right there. Okay. That's my dude right there. I hope he's recovering well from his penis reduction surgery. I hope he's doing well. I would have sent them flowers, but I've had 3 of those procedures myself, so you know.
And in itself, or Alan, when you have these multiple cases, are you heading them all with different teams for each one is one thing. And then I have another question before I get to Alan from me. You're talking about you don't know if cases need to be famous. When you started with Karen Reed, was there any idea where Karen Reed would end up when you started it? Was this something that was going to kind of
so
explode?
good questions, both of them. To answer the first question first, it completely depends, right? It depends on what our staffing is. It depends on how big the issues are that we're dealing with at the firm, as to how many folks we staff on a particular case. I'm lucky. Again, I'm very fortunate. I've got some of the best lawyers in the country working for us, and so I can pick and choose, and I have to pick and choose. Sort of as a field general, I have to make decisions about this situation has to be dealt with in this silo. I have 2 or 3 lawyers that are really expert at that particular thing. May it be motion writing, discovery issues, forensic evidence, things of that nature, and we'll decide amongst ourselves how we're going to staff up the case.
And Better Call Saul fans would know that, HHM can always call Davis and Maine and, hey, we need a little help in this particular area. You're
Right. AJ's head coach and quarterback.
You can call in some subcontractors.
Yeah, and if we need to, we do. And a lot of that is that propels the next conversation on who we need in terms of experts to come in either from a particular field, medical experts, forensic experts, computer experts, whomever. So that the staffing all depends on how the case starts to unfold in front of us and what our strategy is moving forward and how we want to defend the case. In terms of publicity, to run Steve's second question, no. When I went to in September of 2022. I knew that there was some local media that had interest around Karen's case. The first time I went to court, they didn't know me, I didn't know them. The media, there were probably, I don't know, I want to say 3 or 4 or 5 cameras.
Yeah, you actually run the risk of being a carpetbagger, right? They're bringing in the LA guy.
For sure.
In
For sure.
Boston, it's wicked local there. Who's this guy over there? Mr.
Wicked
Slick, nice
local.
suits over there looking, fit and all that.
There you go.
And you come in.
So I had no idea that it was going to catch fire the way that it did. There was, as you know, there was a local interest in Karen's case, and there was a young man who we owe an incredible debt of gratitude to, Aiden Kearney. Turtleboy. And he took the mantle of this situation, of this case on, and began the process of making sure that he was reporting on it every single day. He was getting the word out there. That started to catch fire. And then one thing led to another, and it sort of self-generated and began to explode. And the next time I went out to court, there was, instead of 5 cameras, there were 25 cameras. And the next time I went to court, there were 50 cameras. And then the 100 people turned into 1,000, turned into 5,000.
It became a traveling destination. I talked to people who came from Ireland.
Oh, yeah. No,
who were out there in lawn chairs and pink t-shirts.
Yep, same thing. We had folks that would, when we would drive up at the very end of the case, by the time it had gotten to its zenith, its highest point, truly, there were people who would shout at us words of support from Australia, from China, from Ireland, from all over the world that came to the location to catch a glimpse of Karen Reed and her team.
What a scene. I've got so many more questions on that front.
Right. And that's AJ acknowledging that that's because of Turtleboy's reporting. That is Alan Jackson, the most talked about high profile defense attorney in the world right now, arguably. Probably not even arguably, just. And here he is explaining exactly why what Aiden has done here is so important. So important to not just the Karen Reed case, but important to the locals there in Massachusetts, and important to every American and people worldwide that free speech and liberty mean anything to.
And where that's actually going. But let's go back to the courthouse. The arraignment was last Wednesday for Nick Reiner. I was floored. I was stunned when all of a sudden you're on the courthouse steps and you are backing away from the case. So let's play the tape of Alan outside the courthouse here.
We've investigated this matter top to bottom, back to front.
Down in front.
What we've learned, and you can take this to the bank, is that pursuant to the laws of this state, pursuant to the law in California, Nick Reiner is not guilty of murder. Print that. Print that.
For a guy backing away from a case, you're doing a nice thing for the public defender who's coming in because you're a very well-known and very well-researched and intelligent criminal defense attorney who just, set the tone. You gave an endorsement and a resignation at the same time.
Yeah, and I wasn't doing any favors to any one particular person, the public defender, et cetera. I have a lot of faith in the public defender's office. I have a lot of faith in Kimberly Green. I have a lot of faith in their representation. They're outstanding legal professionals. I was doing a favor to the truth. We have worked, at that time, it was about 3 weeks, almost to the day, we had worked tirelessly, nearly every waking hour, our entire team. And you saw the team behind me. Nearly my whole firm was commissioned with the responsibility to research this case, investigate the case, and do what we felt like we needed to do to get prepared for the beginning stages of the case, which is always the most stressful, right at the beginning stages. And it was important for me to right some wrongs that had been printed. Lots and lots of speculation, lots of people who want to believe certain things. And so with that statement, that's as far as I'm going to go. I believe in it. I believe exactly what I said. What I said is the truth under the laws of the state of California. He's not guilty. And it was important for me to make sure that the public understood that as I had to step away.
So the big question everybody's wanting to know the answer to is, why did you step away?
That's a confidential communication between a lot of folks that I'm not willing to disclose.
But you just used the verb commissioned. So you were hired to do the job. And look, I know you well enough to know when you're pissed off, and I'm looking at your body language there.
This is what I like about Billy, because they're homies, okay? But Billy's a fucking journalist, and he's not scared to ask the fucking questions, dude. Like, I'm sure that AJ right now is like, this motherfucker right here. But Billy is doing his fucking job, and AJ understands that. This is fascinating.
You're emphatic.
This is professionalism incarnate right here, folks.
A lot of folks that I'm not willing to disclose.
But you just used the verb commissioned. So you were hired to do the job. And I know you well enough to know when you're pissed off, and I'm looking at your body language there. You're emphatic in your support of Nick and that he's not guilty in this situation. But I also see that you're not happy. So what?
Well, it was
something happened.
Obviously, with
the retainer.
And I said, well, no.
Is it a money thing?
You can't say that. You can't say that, Billy. You can't say that something happened with the retainer, because I've never said that. So I don't want you to put that.
No, I mean, not like
me being
the actual
Billy.
Retainer number, but the retention of you.
Right. So obviously something happened with my ability and my team's ability to continue the representation. But I don't want you, your audience, anybody else to start speculating as to what that might be. I have not said a word about it.
They speculate.
That's what they do. That's what and
the Greek chorus is ablaze.
Yeah, I get it. But at the same by the same token, I'm saying that it does not matter at this point. I said what I said at the press conference because it's true, and I believe it in my heart. And I also said that my team and I remain and will remain completely committed to the best interests of Nick.
I get that, Deanna, but see, as somebody, when I have guests that I kind of do that too, I can't speak for Billy, but for me, when I do it, I'm not meaning to be disrespectful. It's more like well, he's a journalist. I'm not. So for me, and maybe he's going for the same thing as a journalist, who knows? But since I'm not a journalist, I don't call what I do interviews. So I like to engage in a conversation. Sometimes I'll get so excited. Sometimes it's ADHD. Sometimes it's ADHD too, Deanna. You're right. But a lot of times, mostly, it's just because I'm engaged in a conversation. That's the way I see it. It's a conversation. Like we're riffing, we're talking. And you know, I think that it's excused that way, unless you're asking a question and not allowing the guest to answer. It's a little different, you know, but in the sense that, you know, if he talks over them, you know, sometimes it's just time management. He has only a certain amount of time with AJ, so he has to lead the conversation to go in certain directions. It's just the way, I mean, it's just how these things are. But I get it, you know, because sometimes you're like at the edge of your seat wanting to hear what the answer is going to be, and then the host will go, yeah, but, you know, I get it.
And that's also true, and that's not going to change. But I'm not going to get into the specifics of why it was necessary for me to withdraw.
Is there any chance that you could rejoin the case, or is the ship 100% sailed?
The withdrawal is in the books. The court has relieved me of his counsel, and that's where it stands moving forward.
Okay. Did you meet with Nick? What is have you been able to? Can you describe what is he like? What is his psychological, emotional state? Is he conversant? Is he?
I know there's a lot of interest. I know there's a lot of interest in that, but I can't go into that. That would be impertinent. That would be no, I can't go into that.
In a period of 3 weeks, you know, taking on a case like this, all of a sudden, what kind of work goes into something like that? What's the first thing that you do
In any case, I'm not going to relate this specifically to
Right, just in general, like something like it.
representation of Nick. Yeah, but in any case, the first thing you need to do is try to communicate with the district attorney's office and get as much information as you can from them. They always end up with the information.
And the district
first.
attorney in this case is Nathan Hochman, who, right?
Yes. He's the DA. He's not the deputy DA that's handling the case.
So he's the DA, but he's the ultimate voice on the other side,
Correct.
right? He said, "I'm very confident that there will be a full, conviction, and this guy will be found guilty." We know where he's.
AJ is like, AJ thinks of the dude in terms of like, who's he going to argue with in court? He didn't give a fuck about the DA. He's like, yeah, he's the DA, but he's not the guy that I'm going to fucking wipe the floor with in court.
He is welcome to his confidence.
He defeated George Gascon. His predecessor was known as soft on crime. So he kind of ran on I'll be the opposite of George.
Right.
So he's going to be, which is for you, it's going to be like, okay, he's got to prove himself on every front, but he's a serious guy. We have respect for Nathan.
Sure.
But he's sort of laid out that he's confident there will be a full conviction. So Kimberly Green is the public defender who's now running the case.
Right.
But either if it's you or her, you're still up against the DA who wants a conviction.
So I would presume.
Billy, homie, my man, I got to stop you there because, you're talking to AJ here. AJ just like ass fucked Michael Morrissey in front of the whole world twice. You know what I'm saying? Like, and this guy really wanted a conviction, and we saw the lengths that he was willing to go to get that conviction. But AJ and Karen and her team and Turtleboy were like, dude, no, that's not going to happen.
Ethically, that every DA who brings a case wants a conviction. They better.
Right.
They better think that they have the evidence to prove beyond reasonable
Right.
doubt, 12 independent thinkers that so-and-so is guilty of such and such. They better. Otherwise, it's unethical. It's an unethical prosecution from the beginning. So he and Nathan and his deputies can believe what they want. I don't fault them for that. I believe that at the end of the day,
and also, I would be remiss if I didn't also bring up the fact that another result of AJ's metaphorical ass fucking of Michael Morrissey led to Michael Morrissey not running again for DA. He just simply doesn't have the public support. And that's thanks to Dr. Turtleboy. That's thanks to Karen Reed. That's thanks to AJ. That's thanks to Karen Reed's team, Bob, David, Liza, and every expert, which I'm not going to name. So let's just call this what it is. Let's just call this what it is. This is, and they're not even like, they're just getting started. They're just getting started. That's what's amazing.
That's why we have trials. That's why we have trials. And that's why there is supposed to be an inherent fairness in terms of sharing discovery. So as I started to say a second ago, in any case, it doesn't matter if it's this case or any other case, the first thing that you have to do is try to gather information. Information is power, right? So the first thing we do is reach out to the DA's office and say, give us everything that you've got, everything that you can possibly, that you remotely have in your possession or should have in your possession. Go out and get it, give it to us. And that way we're on an even playing field. And we can begin assessing the evidence and the facts from an even playing field. That's the first thing to do. And so that takes an enormous amount of energy to download. You're drinking from a water hose, or from a fire hose, I should say, right at the very beginning. So you're uploading and onboarding an enormous amount of information.
So everybody's on the same playing field, so it's even, and we all know.
Well, that's by theory. That's by theory. So one of the problems that we have is that never happens.
Yeah.
Like we never get the information that we want and we think we're entitled to. We'll talk about Frazier Bones case in just a second. And there's issues with that exactly on that point, that we are not getting information that we believe we are rightfully entitled to.
Are you concerned? There's reports out there to defend a couple things. Well, let's begin with this. Hypothetically, this is what I read. And again, it's hypothetical. Let's take it out of this specific case. But if you are a criminal defense attorney and you're going for not guilty,
if you're just tuning in, please take a moment to click on the link that I just dropped in the chat and give Billy Bush's stream a like and subscribe to Hot Mics with Billy Bush.
Of insanity, I understand that that's less than 1% of those of people go for that in the first place, and of those who do, 10 to 15% are successful and prevail. The chances are not good; they're not that high. And of that group, I read this. Tell me if it's true. It's mostly women who have killed their children because they're in some kind of, other personality, some kind of other state. Are those numbers about right? Like that's how rare it is?
As a defense attorney, I never listen to, and I'm not driven by probabilities or possibilities. The statistics are just that. They're statistics. They don't mean anything. You take every single case, top to bottom, exactly based on the information that you have in front of you. Every case is different. So not guilty by reason of insanity exists in the penal code for a reason. It's very specific, and it's built into the justice system to try to deal with circumstances that literally are they're outside the purview of the justice system. The justice system is generally built to punish. That's what it's built for. Crime is committed. The evidence is presented to a jury. A factual finding is
thank
made,
you, Cherry.
and then a punishment is exacted. Not guilty by reason of insanity or any kind of a mental health defense is something that is, the reason it's more rare is because it's difficult for the justice system to get their arms around that. It is a nuanced set of laws, and you have to have quite a capable set of lawyers marshaling that evidence and trying to get through that very labyrinthine set of laws. That's why it's rare.
Does it cost more the more high profile someone is?
What do you mean? Cost more?
Well, because another stat, I mean, someone said it's going to cost, an article I read, $5 to $10 million would be what it would cost to really defend this all the way, because the most expensive thing in a case like that are the acts where most of the money goes. But if you're someone with no name and your father was not a huge beloved director, would it cost less, or is it always going to be that much money to get that type of ruling?
Profile, if a lawyer is doing his or her job, a defense lawyer is doing his or her job, the profile is of no moment. It's of no factual moment in terms of deciding how to defend the case. You defend the case as hard, you go at it as hard and as tough as you would if somebody has more anonymity, as you would if somebody has notoriety. It doesn't matter. That means nothing. People don't charge. I cannot imagine that an next.
So you're not going to a state psychiatric institute.
You can be stabilized, etc. And only after.
Sorry, guys. I'm just trying to manage time here.
Your friend now. I mean, after all you guys have been through, Karen Reed.
Once I'm done, I'm done. I've withdrawn. That's all I can say. I've withdrawn.
Okay. Okay. So much to discuss your friend now. I mean, after all you guys have been through, Karen Reed.
Yes.
Right. She's facing she's defending against a civil case against the O'Keefe families. Filed one against her in 2 bars.
Right.
And she's also filed her own, which is going to, right, it's going to be in a federal court.
Correct.
So there's that. You're representing Fraser Boehm, a young man who had a horrific accident on the PCH, Pacific Coast Highway in Malibu.
Right.
And that's on your plate. And there's one other case out there of someone I wonder if you would defend them and what you would do. So we have more to go with our guest, Alan Jackson. This is the 1-year anniversary of Hot Mics with Billy Bush, our own little show. If you're new to it, which I'm sure several people are.
Happy anniversary, Hot Mics.
Not me, you, Alan. Thank you for being here. And please hit subscribe. Quick note from our sponsor, Prize Picks. Alan, this is fun. Prize Picks is the best place to win money while watching sports, especially if you're double A hit.
Sorry, dude.
It's just through it all together.
Yeah, very good friend.
Where does it stand with her? There was talk that between the civil trials, the one that's coming against her, and the one that she's going after, all those people that were in that house, the McAlberts, as they're known.
And the institutions as well.
And
That's even more, just as important as the individuals is the institutions that objectively just failed, just completely failed her, failed the community. So those are big lawsuits.
But there was talk about combining them because it all deals with the same people and the same material.
Right.
But now one is going to federal court. So
there's procedural issues that lent themselves to removing some of the defendants up to federal court. But it's not going to change the contours of the allegations and the contours of the case. Ultimately.
So can they combine resources here and make it just one thing? We want to know.
No, when you get
we
to
the fans, by the way, I'm just going to say, we the fans just want to know who did it. It's not her. That's already been ruled. Who did it? And O'Keefe's, bless their hearts, are just wasting time. There's just no way, in my opinion, this is not coming from you, that they are going to win this. A criminal trial already said no across the board. So
the procedural niceties of federal court versus state court in Massachusetts, it is such that there's a barrier between them. You can't just combine the two cases because there's different sovereigns. It's literally a different court system. So our hope was, at least it doesn't really matter to us. We don't really care. It would make it a little more convenient, a little more streamlined, obviously, if it was all in state court. But federal court benefits us in pretty significant ways as well. So we're fine.
Can you give one way? Tell me why federal court is better.
Well, it's not. I don't want to go into the specific details of strategy, but there are federal court rules that benefit us in certain things that we intend to do and propound in terms of our case, discovery issues, as well as evidentiary issues.
And you haven't had the greatest of experiences with the local system and the state system. Let's just say
I'm going to give grace to the rest of the judges that are in the Massachusetts state system.
So she's got the federal case that she is pursuing, right? Which I love.
Yeah.
Look, you're a lawyer, but to me, as an observer, I'm always stunned when someone just settles, or like if I'm accused of something horrible and I'm like, here, let's just settle with them. I don't want to go through. They say we don't want to go through the years of trouble. You just had your entire character impugned. Right. I don't know. I would throw everything in the kitchen sink. I like the fact that Karen has turned around and said, yeah, I'm innocent. And what does a really innocent person do?
Yeah,
fight back.
Right. Which is exactly what that's how she's built. She's not going to.
She's scrappy and she's intelligent.
Yeah.
But she is fighting back and going, okay, now let's find out who actually did this. And I admire that.
And show the warts and blemishes from inside the Massachusetts State Police. Show the warts and blemishes inside the system.
That's a big undertaking. That's a big admission. If the Commonwealth of Massachusetts,
You know
says
how
we're wrong.
many officers have been either disciplined from Massachusetts State Police, right? The untouchable, the Massachusetts State Police. Oh my God, they're untouchable. They've been around forever. They're storied. It's a storied agency. Or
Yeah,
department.
look at what
I don't know if I could tick
done.
off on. I couldn't tick off on one hand because it's more than 5. There have been a ton of officers who've either been disciplined, demoted, stripped of their position, or just out and out fired. In the case of Michael Proctor. So yeah, it is a big undertaking, but they can't get out of their own way. They have. We've exposed such a core level of corruption.
Right. In other words, they made it real fucking easy. You know, like they made it real fucking easy because these guys were so fucking arrogant, living in their little safe bubble of corruption that they didn't even try to hide it. They went, I truly still, with everything I have, believe that the intention was to frame Karen to a point where Karen would plead out because they were hitching on the fact that Karen was saying, did I hit him? She wasn't sure. Jen McCabe, I feel like, was the one selling this the hardest to everyone and saying, okay, well, I mean, this is what we do. Like, we just fucking say that she hit him. We convince her that she hit him. That's what we do. And then when Karen hired good lawyers and her memory started to come back and things started to unearth, she was like, no, fuck all that. I didn't fucking do this shit. Now, here we are.
In the Massachusetts State Police, a cancer within the Massachusetts State Police, as has been alleged in the lawsuit, that they're not going to fare well. They're not going to fare well at all.
I have spoken to Karen only briefly. I don't know her like you know her, but she spent 3.5 years of her life doing this, and now it's going to be more. She's got a civil trial again against her, and the federal that she's playing offense. Psyche-wise, like she's in the prime of her life, right? She was in a relationship. There's the sweet things in life ahead, but this is going to become, in the end, what, like 6-7 years? This is her life defined. Can she handle, how does she take care of herself? Is she in a good headspace?
Can she handle it? Absolutely. Yeah, like you said, Billy, at some point there comes a time when you say, okay, I'm not going to be the victim anymore. I'm not going to be the target anymore. I'm going to go out and start throwing my own haymakers. And that's what she's doing. She's in that mindset. If everybody went away, I don't know that would make her happy. She is a fighter. She wants resolution. And she has a right to it. She's right to it. What the Massachusetts State Police did, this investigation that was so broken from the very beginning, that led, in no small part, it led to her having to go through these last 3.5 years that you just mentioned of being targeted and feeling like she was on the back of her heels. She's entitled, and good for her, wanting to fight back and establish what the true facts are. And those true facts are going to be pretty ugly. They've already been pretty ugly. I mean, Jesus, you watch the trial.
You and she are going to do maybe a project together, right?
We are. That is in the works.
Can she do that while this case is going on, or just talk about other things, or she can talk some things about this because?
No, she can talk about certain things about this. There are certain things that we would probably hold back on a podcast if we were.
She's lucky that her partner doing this will be you, and also her lawyer says, don't do that, don't do this. It's like you're like the ultimate executive producer.
We've got a built-in safety net, yeah. But we think that this is an opportunity for, in a very, very unique way, for Karen to talk about the justice system writ large. Like, what does that consist of? She has been the target.
That YouTube channel or that podcast, like the YouTube channel already has a shit ton of subscribers. I forget what it's called though. If I can remember what it's called, I'll drop the link. Yeah, I mean, there's no content on it yet, but Jesus, what is it called? The Read Files. Okay. Thank you guys. There we go. All right. What the fuck? Hello. There we go. All right. So That's the link to the Karen Reed channel. Make sure to give it a subscribe. Now, I'm super excited about this. I can't wait to hear the two of them or riff is the word. I can't wait. I'm really excited about it. Is that 7K already? 7,000 subscribers already. That's amazing. And there's no content. So it's going to be great. I'll drop it in the chat again. This way you guys know, you guys get notifications when they go live. Because that's not something that I want to miss.
Have been the challenger. We have built a teamwork and a network that really has foundation in discussing other cases, the system at large, the justice system, the court system, DA's offices, investigative agencies, things of that nature. And nearly every day, something comes across our feed, something comes across your feed in social media about some injustice that is alleged to have occurred somewhere in this country. We have myriad
Look at it right
emails.
now.
I mean, over and over and over.
Minneapolis is so ablaze in our country.
So that would be a topic of discussion that I think Karen and I would offer a very unique perspective on. She's got the unique perspective of having been the person who is falsely accused, having been targeted by a behemoth system with unlimited resources and unyielding motivation to try to subjugate her, to try to attack her. And I've had the unique opportunity of being able to defend that person. So when we sit down together, I think us taking the bigger issues, the justice system in America, and really tackling those and dissecting them and peeling the onion back from both of our perspectives, I think it'll be pretty fascinating.
What is going on with the justice system in America? Is it under threat? I mean, I don't know how political you get, but like
I try not to get political, but I can tell you from a legal standpoint, it is it's discouraging. That's a word that I would use to describe what's happening in courtrooms and in investigative agencies across the country.
What about the DOJ?
Same thing. There are warts and blemishes within the DOJ that are now being exposed. That unfortunately, that's the sort of hidden little secret, is that it's been going on for years and decades, and it requires. I think social media is a great platform because there's so many opportunities for people to speak out who have had no voice before. So
now,
they get out on social media and make a splash.
I get this. I get this. Now, he does discuss Turtleboy a bit more here, actually, but I get what you're saying. Now, but you got to understand, like, the guest here is Alan Jackson. Alan Jackson has a lot to discuss. Alan Jackson has been busy, and there's a lot for him to discuss. So, Turtleboy and him saying nice things about Turtleboy is only going to have so much time. Is only going to have so much time on the show. So, be realistic here. Let's just be realistic. Let me see here. Oh God. Okay. Really? All right. Thank you, Cherry. Appreciate it. Sorry guys. Let me play this.
Look what Aiden did. Right to
Turtleboy.
To really shine a hot spotlight on corruption that was right under his nose, that he's actually experienced himself because he shined the spotlight on it. Now he's being attacked by the very behemoth, by the very 800-pound gorilla that he exposed. How's that fair?
Now, immediately in talks of corruption, when discussing, I think this is something to not be overlooked, because as Alan Jackson is discussing how disappointed he is in problems in the justice system all around the country, it makes him think of Turtleboy immediately, makes him think of Aiden and what they're doing to Aiden. Because you guys got to understand, lest we forget, Aiden is still facing like 100 years in jail, dude, for exposing the very corruption that Alan Jackson is referring to, the 800-pound gorilla, as he's referring to. And that 800-pound gorilla got real scared of Turtleboy. And what does an 800-pound gorilla do? Well, they try to pummel you. And that 800-pound gorilla put their weight on Aiden. And Aiden is still facing jail time. And pinned to the top of the chat is his defense fund link. So if you guys want to help him out, because on the 23rd, and I have every intention of being there to support my boy. On the 23rd, I hope to see you guys, you locals out there. And if you could travel out there, even better. But I'm really hoping to see people out there to support Aiden outside the courthouse, because Aiden technically has put his life on the line to expose the very corruption that this man and his team and Karen Reed beat in court. But he's still facing scrutiny. He's still facing jail time. Like him or not, these are facts. And if you like your free speech, then you should be supporting Aiden. And I mean at the very core of really appreciating what free speech means, because those of you, if you truly believe in free speech, those of you who don't like Aiden should be supporting him that much more, because that's what free speech really means. Free speech really means that it's not the things that you like that should be protected. It's the things that you don't like to hear that need protection. That's what free speech means. So those of you who don't like Turtleboy should be supporting him if you are true patriots and truly believe in your free speech and really appreciate it.
Well, that's just an indicator. That's just a paradigm of a larger problem throughout the country, both on the federal level with the DOJ to state courts and state agencies across the country. And it's high time that someone starts exposing these things and pointing a finger and showing some spine and not being afraid, because of the amount of exposure social media brings to bear. It does provide a little bit of a safety net. So it's discouraging, but it's an exciting time for exposition to expose some of these ills that have badly needed.
And that's a good point. This is an exciting time because Aiden is about to beat these people. Karen Reed is about to beat these people in civil court. She's already beat them in criminal court. Now she's going to beat them in civil court. Aiden's about to beat them in criminal court. And who knows what's going to happen in civil court after that. And so, yes, this is frustrating. What's happening is frustrating, but at the same time, it's a very exciting time because someone is standing up to it. Someone has lit the spark, and every one of you guys are a part of it. Every one of you guys are a part of it now. That makes for a very exciting time. I am so grateful to be a part of it. I am so grateful to have the role in it that I have. I am humbled to have the role in this that I have. And I hope that the rest of you feel the same way.
Rectifying for many, many years.
Hey, Billy and Alan. You brought up you brought up Turtleboy, and I just wanted to, from Ann Dunlap, 1951. She says, "Thank you, Mr. Alan Jackson, for acknowledging Aiden Karen."
Now, the amazing thing here is why can't I see it? Hold on, let me refresh it.
To expose some of these ills that have badly needed rectifying for many, many years.
Hey, Billy and Alan. You brought up
Turtleboy. Look at the chat.
From Ann Dunlap, 1951. She says, "Thank you, Mr. Alan Jackson, for acknowledging Aiden Kearney, and prayers will be set free." You know, saying that was out there that there was some, maybe everyone.
There's a lot
doesn't
of
get along.
turtles. There's a look at.
It was saying
Alan,
maybe everyone
look at all
doesn't
the
get
turtles
along.
in the chat
There's a
section.
lot
I'm
of
turning my laptop
I like
around
it.
to Alan.
Good.
Look at all the turtles.
And there should be.
But I think they liked hearing you, Alan, that you're reaching out and saying something about Turtleboy. I think there's a lot out there that maybe parties on both sides aren't getting along, but they like to hear the nice words that you said.
Of course. Yeah.
See, that was really cool of Steve to do that, because there's a lot of parties that aren't getting along. And let me tell you something. Regardless of my beef with other creators, regardless with their beef with me, this channel is 100% Team Karen. Just because I had a personal issue with something that took place months ago does not mean that I don't support her in her fight against this corruption and against the very people who are responsible for the death of Boston police officer John O'Keefe. I absolutely 100% support Karen Reed. I've never stopped, and I will continue to do so. And I don't need some sort of fucking pass from anybody to do it. So go fuck yourself if you think that you have some sort of weird ownership over who supports Karen Reed. It's insane. And Aiden, as far as I understand it, absolutely supports Karen Reed. So whatever all this shit is about, that's why we make fun of it, and that's why we do petty streams, because it's fucking retarded. But I love that Steve pointed it out. And I love that Steve was like, hold on a second. Let's I want to like read this comment, because this is something I suspect Steve probably watches some of us and gets what's happening, sees it, and wanted to, he used his position here to seize a moment, to seize an opportunity, to make something pretty clear. And I love that he did that. So big shout out to Steve, man, for that, dude. That was really ballsy of him to do that.
Where was the first place that Alan Jackson appeared after the trial was over? I think you paid respect and you spent a Saturday night live with him.
Sure.
Right? That was by
Look at that chat.
By design. I could pick
Howie Carr, Boston Globe, many other people who were all over this. Me.
Yeah.
It was by design. It was by design.
Asking, you went right to Turtleboy first.
Aiden was the first one to have Alan Jackson on.
There's a beauty to groundwork being done by its own community. In other words, when you talked about Minneapolis, you talk. There's other communities throughout the country that are suffering at the hands of not just incompetence, but in some cases just abject corruption. And when you have a grassroots movement from anybody, if anybody can get that started, that has so much power in bringing to light and protecting, bringing to light the corruption and protecting the folks who have been the target of the corruption. And by the way, I'm far from it. I'm not saying that all police agencies are bad or all investigators are bad or they always get it wrong. But I'm saying they get it wrong a hell of a lot of times, a hell of a lot of the time. And there are
there's getting something wrong, and then there's like she did it, and something is blatant, and this woman goes to jail for the rest of her life.
Yeah, and
for
we know
murder.
we know she didn't do it.
And what, you're willing to do that? Your conscience will be okay at night by pinning this because you need a win so badly?
Every one
Michael
of the
Morrissey?
folks, every one of those folks, starting with Michael Morrissey,
the DA. I mean,
every single one of those folks slept like a baby, and that is tragic. They slept like a baby, knowing full well that they were prosecuting an innocent woman. They damn well did. That is shameful. That is.
They damn well fucking knew that they were prosecuting an innocent woman.
That is tragic. That there's no more moral compass in the system, especially out there, in the system of justice out there in Massachusetts, than those folks could go home at night and justify their conduct. It's unjustifiable, unacceptable. And that's what we're going to expose in the civil cases.
Well, you are not afraid to speak emphatically and call it out, and you did then, and you still do. And boy, these trials. When does that? It seems to be a lull in the action.
The civil cases. I mean, Billy, it's a marathon, not a sprint. So all these civil cases will take a good amount of time. I mean, we're just in the beginning of the discovery phase. Not a single deposition has been taken yet.
Is this going to cost Karen a bunch of money to defend herself? Right.
The entire.
Where does she get it?
The entire. Absolutely, it's going to cost her a pretty penny to defend herself.
So she has to raise money from people.
Correct. I've seen speculation out online about that she's got plenty of money in this. She's
how?
She does not. She does not have the funds and the resources to defend herself against the O'Keefe suit, and she's doing the best she can. She's not going to.
Will we see something in this? Will it get moving?
Yes, there will be additional court appearances. As a matter of fact, there will be some movement in the discovery world. Depositions are starting to get scheduled, etc. So you'll see some movement, but not. It's not. It goes at a glacial pace. I'll put it that way.
Okay.
It's not like a criminal case.
It is the 1 year anniversary of Hot Mics, our podcast, our platform. Alan Jackson, criminal defense attorney extraordinaire, our guest today. Couldn't think of anything more appropriate. He has found himself. He's just in pivotal cases, in pivotal moments. It's unbelievable. What's happened to you over the last year is incredible, and us. So here we are together on this day. This is just one of the moments along the way in our 1 year history when we were watching live. We decided to stream live for the first time ever, and it was during when the verdict came out, and you were on the steps. So fire away, fellas.
Say Walt. 0-0.
He's not hidden, Cherry. He's not hidden.
What say is the defendant at the bar leaving the scene after accident resulting in death? The defendant not guilty or guilty? So say no!
They're not silent outside anymore.
You upon your oath say the defendant on 001 is not guilty.
Whoa!
002 is guilty of operating the influence of liquor.
Oh, one for the road.
003
Fine, you got it for drinking and driving. Okay. Danny, go get one to Brian Albert and Brian Higgins too. Go get that one. Oh my God. That's one of the best things I've ever seen. Literally, how have you hidden that from me all this time? I have never seen, obviously I can watch it live. I never saw that. That is one of the best reactions I've ever seen.
Oh, I mean, you know, I'm a pretty emotive fellow, but
yeah,
that was just like,
that was right from the gut.
This better be 3 for 3, dude. I mean, this better, you know, I mean,
all right.
we all have a.
All right. So I want to manage things a little bit, manage time a little bit. Amazing. Alan Jackson on Hot Mics with Billy Bush. Guys, make sure to like and subscribe to Hot Mics Billy Bush. Now, another thing that happened today was an interview with Karen Reed dropped on a channel called Rotten Mango. And we're going to watch a little bit of that and go over it because I'm curious about it myself. I have not listened to or watched this yet. And I would be reacting as we watch this. So anybody who hasn't seen this will be watching it for the first time together. And yes, that is me, Sleuthy Goosey, back on X. That is absolutely me. Let me oh my goodness. Here's my my X. Nope, I'm dropping the link to my X account in the chat right now. And so, yeah, we've got this Rotten Mango. Now, everyone, stop what you're doing right now. Go give Rotten Mango a like on this Karen Reed interview, this exclusive Karen Reed interview. And make sure to subscribe to Rotten Mango if you're not already. I'll give you some time to do it. I just dropped the link in chat. Let me just do that one more time. There you go. And I'll give you guys some time to do that. Hold on. Yes, there we go. All right, folks. Thank you guys so much for your patience and for taking the time to like and subscribe to Rotten Mango. And let's check this out. Her trailer for this was really it's bizarre. I was like, okay, right on. Kind of weird.
June 10th, 2022, Karen Reed is charged with murder. She is accused of allegedly killing her Boston cop boyfriend, John O'Keefe.
Karen, State Police, we have a search warrant.
I'm in my pajamas. I don't even have shoes on. I'm just charged with second-degree murder now?
That's correct. You can step inside.
She was accused of running him over, leaving him for dead in the snow outside of another Boston cop's house. Is that correct?
That's correct.
For the past 3 years, Karen Reed has gone through a murder trial, a second murder trial, and finally, June 18th, 2025, she is acquitted of murder. Is that correct?
That's correct.
003, not guilty.
And this is her first formal sit-down interview since the acquittal. Welcome to Rotten Mango, Karen.
Hi, Stephanie.
You were facing life in prison.
Yes.
June 18th, you get acquitted. What is that feeling in a way that's comparable to something someone watching can understand?
It's probably the opposite
Her studio's cool, man.
of what someone watching would assume I felt. I am still not quite living in an acquittal world. I thought I would just bounce back like on a spring. It hasn't been that way. I don't quite understand why. I'm trying to understand why I haven't felt more celebratory. And what I think is that I lived with some very singular emotions: fright, anger, and anxiety. It was very intense. Every waking hour, every hour, I thought about my freedom and if I could lose it. And those feelings just don't disappear
The music's a nice touch.
when a jury foreman says not guilty. I mean, there is, of course, relief, but I don't just wake up the next day and I'm living the life I lived 5 years ago. I felt my grief was being replaced with anger that was then driving this adrenaline. And I woke up every day with a real purpose, and I was appreciative that I was free to pursue this purpose. And then all of a sudden, the purpose is gone, thankfully, but I don't have a routine to go back to. It's not there anymore. I don't have a job. I don't have a home anymore. And I'm just kind of in no man's land. And I still have moments every day, very brief, like a nanosecond, where I think of something. I need to tell Liza Little this for this witness, or if God forbid I'm ever convicted, I need to make sure I tell my mother this, or it's over the feeling as soon as it starts. But there's definitely some synapses in my head that are still thinking trial hasn't happened yet. It's like when you get ready for the holidays and then you think, wait a minute, did Christmas already happen? It was all this anticipation, and then it's over in a couple hours and you unwrap presents, and it feels like that. Like I have to ask myself, it's over, right? It happened. I don't need to worry about this anymore. But there's this big void in my body and in my mind and physically, and what I was doing every day that I don't quite know how to fill. I just feel like a fish out of water. It's weird.
I mean, that's something I was going to ask. It's been like 6+ months since the acquittal. Obviously, you don't want to go back to trial, but every day you have to get dressed. You have a mission. There's urgency. Was there like a wave of emotions that hit you after the acquittal that maybe you were suppressing during the trial?
The acquittal feels like 3 years ago. When you say 6 months, it's like, oh my God, has it only been 6 months? I already feel like it's been many seasons and many things since then. I've had such an amazing network of support, more than anyone could ever ask for in this circumstance. Emotionally, when I needed to let things out, I had people around me that I could lean on. It was more physically that I didn't have the physical appetite. I didn't have the physical energy I had during trial. I've felt just kind of lackluster and just relaxed, but not this drive. Like I feel like I've lost some of this drive, and it feels like it was just a prolonged response to what the government did to me. That I had these endorphins pushing me, getting me out of bed, keeping me up, working on witness prep during trial and motions in between trials, and then it just shuts off. It was like this supply I had that never ended for 4 years, and now it's gone. So I feel physically I'm paying for it now. Like I've got to relearn how to get a regimen and how to source energy and drive every day. Yeah. Maybe hopefully not have it like it needed to be before June 18th, but some kind of even keel. I haven't found that yet.
Do you like wake up in the morning ever like, oh my God, I'm late to court, and then it's like, okay, I don't have trial. Like
I mean, what sucks about that is I don't see that happening for a long time. You know, the even keel. The tragic part of all this is that she's probably going to just get used to feeling the way that she does because she has this. I mean, the civil shit is going to take fucking forever. You know what I'm saying? So now she has to just prepare herself for being like on guard all the fucking time. And she has to like get used to it for a while, and it sucks. It sucks. Like there's no avoiding that. There's no running away from that. I mean, even if like, let's just say the O'Keefes drop the lawsuit. Let's say she drops her lawsuit, right? Let's just say everybody decides by some fucking miracle that everyone wants to just move on with their fucking lives, right? Let's just say that happens, which in reality, there's just no realistic way that would ever fucking happen. But let's just say in a fucking crazy world that would happen, right? There is still going to be this feeling looming over her from knowing that it's absolutely possible, knowing in a way that none of us will ever know, even though we saw it with our own eyes, knowing that at any given point, and this is what Aiden has to live with every day, that any given point, they could just flex their power and take your freedom away. They could just make some shit up and take your freedom away. That you could just be at a place, wrong time, wrong circumstances, and be the most convenient way to get somebody who has powerful friends to get out of some shit, and you have to fall on the sword. Like she and Aiden know that that's possible in a way that even though we witnessed it, we'll never understand. Hopefully, none of us will ever experience that.
I think I would if I were living. I live with my parents most of the time, so I'm not in the environs that I was in during court. But if I stayed at the Marriott in the Seaport, the Residence Inn, I may feel that way. I do get those moments of something that I want to tell one of the lawyers. I want to remember, like, oh, these two dots connect, and then I realize, no, we don't need to know those dots connect anymore. We already addressed it. Thank God, I don't wake up thinking I've got to get to court. I wake up feeling very fortunate that I'm not court ordered to be anywhere anymore. It's very frightening to know you are court ordered. This is not a job or school where you should be there. It's best that you're there, but no one's going to come arrest you if you don't go. And this is 2 trials plus 100 pretrial hearings that I am court ordered. It doesn't matter how I feel physically or mentally. I have to be there, and I have to be there sharp because I'm a member of this team. So it's amazing waking up knowing no one is going to force me to be anywhere today.
What did you do the first 24 hours, though, after the acquittal? Like 24 hours, what was that like?
The first 24 hours.
What say, is the defendant at the bar not guilty or guilty? Not guilty.
Now, if you're wearing headphones, even past the music that she added, you could still hear the crowd outside. And look at the cerebral ninja wearing his heart on his face. Look at Bob, Bill, Janet, Nathan. Listen to that.
Karen, what is life going to be like for you now?
I spent the whole ride back to the hotel. We were hearing from people at the hotel that the press and the neighborhood were already starting to gather in the parking lot. The hotel we stayed at was like a boutique style residence in a very lovely neighborhood in Seaport of Boston called Fort Point. And the local businesses, the restaurants, there was a residential building just across the street from us. It was almost the size of an alley, a very narrow street. And coincidentally, when I was in my 20s, I lived in that building. When we came back from the hotel, we tried to lose the press a few times, and I think we ended up going in a side alley door to the hotel. But I went to my room. David's room was below me, and I looked across the alley, and there were residents in the apartment building next door that had put congratulatory signs in their windows. Somebody put something with Yanetti's name. They must have known David, 'cause it was only, well, I guess Alan was up in the corner as well, but it was a window directly. David was below me. It was right adjacent to David's room. But FKR or Congrats Yanetti. So there were people that we had met in the neighborhood that were congregating. A restaurant nearby, I had orchestrated with them. I didn't make any plans until I was acquitted because there's no way I was gonna set up any kind of dinner before I actually knew I was gonna need that dinner. So I called a restaurant in the Seaport. They gave us a private room. We had been there a few times during trial, and they were amazing. No one knew we were there, and it was my immediate family, my cousins who I'm particularly close to, and my legal team, and my local lawyers brought their families, and that was a very long 3-hour dinner. It was very overwhelming. My phone was blowing up. I wanted to decompress with my parents. I barely even got to speak to them, and the waiter's coming over and asking if I wanted to do a la carte desserts, and I'm like, I just really want to go back to the hotel and lay on my bed. We were getting requests for Good Morning America and the Today Show and People magazine. It was all rushing. It was just flooding in, and I don't want to do any of this. I need a beat, and I need to figure out how I'm going to tackle all the media. I was very, very overwhelmed. We all went back to the hotel. All the families, my parents came back. Obviously, all the lawyers were still in town. The following day, I think Liza might have been.
Listen, I'm going to address the elephant in the room because that's what I fucking do. If you're new here, so yeah, the chat's already knows where I'm going with that. Now, here's what I have to say about that. Whatever those reasons are between her and Aiden. Whatever reason she forgot or failed to mention or made a conscious effort to not mention Aiden was at this dinner. First of all, it's just a dinner. Second of all, again, it is something between Aiden and Karen that has nothing to do with me, nothing to do with you, nothing to do with anybody else except Aiden and Karen. These are things that I am not going to allow to distract me from what's important. And what's important here is that both parties, no matter what their dynamic happens to be currently, are fighting the same monster. Period.
First to leave, David was leaving, Bob was leaving, my parents left in the morning, and Alan and I said, I just want to have a day. He was leaving the second day, 2 days after the verdict, and we just walked around, went to our haunts that we ate at during trial, and said, I'm going to walk in with Alan and have a meal that I've never had with him without this albatross around my neck. I've never eaten a meal or had a bowl of chowder with any of these people as a free woman. And it was a really sunny, warm day. And I ran into someone that I used to work with at Fidelity that I hadn't seen in a long time. It was just, I felt like I was in a dream, though. I wouldn't say it was like the happiest day of my life. It still hadn't like hit me yet. It just felt surreal. And I felt so I'm going to go back to the hotel, pack up my things, and then where do I go? And everyone else is going, my friends are going to
travel. Let me tell y'all something. If you guys aren't subbed up to Mazza Media, man, you are missing out, dude, because Mazza is the truth. Mazza has been solid ever since I've ever met him. I'm proud to call him a friend, and he's just dope as fuck. So if you guys aren't, and he is never holding back, but always classy when discussing his feelings. And I think he is right now the strongest voice for Kelsey Fitzsimmons besides Melanie Little. And I think you guys need to give Mazza a sub. If you're not subbed up to Mazza, you're missing out.
Back and go back to work, and the lawyers are going to go to other projects, and even my parents will go back to their routine, and my siblings. And it's just, where do I go? I was not planning with 100% certainty I would be here today. It's weird to live a day that you never planned on. I never made a plan for June 19th or 20th or the 21st because I didn't want to jinx anything, and I didn't know that I'd be there. I didn't even book a dentist appointment. So it's all of a sudden now I've got nothing, and just very surreal is the best word I can think to describe it.
Is it like someone just comes and like shakes your snow globe and then leaves?
Yeah, and then everything just settles and it just gets like eerily
That's
quiet, like it does after a snowstorm.
That's an interesting metaphor.
Or the plows come through. It's just dark and silent and it's still like feels like that. Like, I'm starting to feel my way around, like defining what my life is going to be, but it's getting easier. But I do feel I've had this delayed reaction to the persecution, not delayed reaction to the acquittal. I'm finally like reacting to this horrible thing that happened to me, and I had to swallow and roll with it, and now I'm digesting it. Like I swallowed something horrible, and it's just sat in my body, and now I'm finally breaking it down. I feel like I'm having to address things that I swept under the carpet. Like emotionally, it's your body kicks into this fight.
I'm totally gonna burst into flames right now too, bro. And I'm gonna be like, I just love her outfit. I mean, Jesus, look at that outfit. She wears that so well. It's just the perfect outfit for this interview.
Or flight, and my body is very good. My mind is very good at kicking into fight. I work very well under stress and pressure, and it got even better. That characteristic got refined during the last 4 years. But you can't do that to your body and to your mind without paying the piper eventually. And I feel like I've had to do that.
Have you ever like dealt with depression during the trial, even now?
No, I've never really dealt with it ever. I don't know if it's depression or if it's like PTSD. But no, I didn't feel, I was angry most of the time, angry. And I felt very lucky that it's a disservice to the people around me who are the most amazing people anyone could ask for. And I'm not inclined to depression, so I'm not surprised. I went through a normal grieving process, but I didn't feel down that I had to sell my house and everything in it that I curated myself. I felt, and I had a conversation with Alan that don't look at it as, the government is robbing you of this. Like they're using your taxes to prosecute you, and you're having to go through every asset and liquidate it. Look at it as an investment.
Right. They're using her taxes that she has been paying as an independent citizen of the United States of America and the Commonwealth of Massachusetts. She has been a paying tax. She's been a taxpayer. And they use those very taxes to frame her and falsely prosecute her.
Made before you ever knew you'd be in this situation, and now it's paying off when you need it. And you're going to use this house to save your life. And, I get a lot of words of wisdom, but they don't all resonate, and that did. But I think I really just feel that I've been running on endorphins that are now, the spigot just shut off, and I've got to inspire myself in ways like everybody else wakes up. And I look at everyone around me like, get up and live lives and find inspiration, or physically and mentally, and I just have to do that like a normal person now, like retrain it.
Yeah. There's actually some people, perhaps a lot of people out there that think you are sitting on a beach, you are cashing in on a book deal, a documentary deal. Like they think that you are good, you're set, you're enjoying your life. Is that what it really is like?
So we have announced that we're working with a publisher. This is Luke Janklow, and a producer in Los Angeles. That's Julie Yorn on the movie and TV side of things. So I've only announced that I have agents and I have these producers helping me to sell this. Mm-hmm. I have made nothing on the documentary. In fact, I lost trying to fight for a piece of the proceeds from the documentary. I went into the documentary thinking that there was this Son of Sam law in Massachusetts, which prevents defendants from profiting. You can't commit crime and then
only if you're convicted, I would think, right?
Book from prison and send your kids to college on the back of this crime. Mm-hmm. There is no Son of Sam law in Massachusetts, which we found out in the middle of making this deal with the documentaries, which was great. So I can get paid at any point in this legal process, even if I were convicted. We were not paid.
Even if she had been falsely convicted, she could have still wrote a fucking book. Like,
not paid. No member of my team was paid.
That's good to know.
Anything from the documentary was very legally involved. I believe I was misled and taken advantage of, and we gave the documentarian our all. I did not see the documentary. I watched the end of the final episode. I don't know if there are 4 or 5. Several people told me there was a nice moment with David and me at the end of the last episode. So I did watch that and I liked it. And then I watched Dave and I said goodbye at the hotel. And then the documentary ended with me in my basement at the house I no longer live in with all the legal boxes, because the documentary ended at the mistrial. So I think she was trying to show, here I am just back, stuck at go again with our paper shredder and our printers. And I think I was like vacuuming the floor. And I was like, all right, I've seen enough. People close to me who watched the documentary said, based on what I had predicted it would be, it was not that. And I thought, this documentary experience has not been fun. It was incredibly invasive, which I knew it would be, but we still gave them more access than they could have ever hoped for. And the documentarian, I feel, went out of her way to excise us from enjoying not one dime of the proceeds. And based on what little I saw and what I've heard of the product, I don't need your money. You know what you did. You know what we gave you every day. My family, you were in our living quarters. You were in the SUV with us every day. You know what we gave you, and you know what kind of story you had from us, and you used us. You know what you did. And I wish just never to cross paths with you again. I will tell my story with more control. We don't have a book deal. I think Alan and I will be co-authors on a book. There will be no book written by someone, even with just some creative input by me. It will be written by probably 3 people, a professional, and then Alan and I will be helping to tell the story. So I want this to be a story about corruption. I want to have some impact on the state where I've lived most of my life and where my family's from and where we battled this. I want to make an impact on what people think about politics, about the government, about the dangers of a one-party political system, which is what Massachusetts is. It's not about liberal or conservative. It's about being one party from the founding of that government with no competition, no checks and balances. It becomes almost anarchy, like it is now. We've got a district attorney who has a war chest despite not having any opposition. It's dangerous, and I believe that is why I got where I was and why I got into this position, and why until it changes, there will be other Karen Reeds. You may not hear about them. Mm-hmm. These stories, Sandra Birchmore, it's getting exposed. Other people are exposing
now,
it.
I don't know. Did Michael Morrissey make an official announcement today, or are people just going by what Microdots said? Because I saw Microdots post. Now, I don't know if that's based on something that was announced today, but I remember when he did the press conference over the Brian Walsh shit, he said he wasn't going to run again. So, but he made an official statement today. Okay, thank you guys. All right. So, yeah, when this was recorded, when this interview was conducted, this was not a thing yet. So I just wanted to mention that so that there's no confusion, because she's saying a DA who's unopposed, meaning Michael Morrissey, but he's not going to run again.
As well, that's what this story will be. Okay. And if I have to write it myself, then I'll write it myself.
Even on that note, I do feel like I've heard a lot about you. I've heard a lot of clips of you. I've watched the whole documentary series, Body in the Snow, and I feel like you're very different from that. You know, the way that you're presented in the documentary and then versus like when you walked in.
I've gotten very good, and I was not good at this in my prior life. I've gotten very good at controlling what I let upset me, because so much has been taken from my control with a judge, with a district attorney, with the state police. I've been arrested. I've had my home 2 years later searched for electronics. Once someone comes in your home, you have no safe place anywhere. They've been in my parents' home. They've been in my house 3 times. So I've had to learn to control what I can control, which means not falling down a rabbit hole on Twitter, not reading comments on a video on YouTube. And I knew I had an idea where this documentary was going before it came out. We ended the relationship with Terry, the documentarian, on a very bad note, over money, of course. I had former students from Bentley. I had former colleagues. I had friends that traveled on their dime to interview for this documentary. These are people who knew me in all sorts of facets of life that I was then told those interviews didn't make it in.
They didn't make it in, yeah.
But John's sister-in-law, who, to the best of my knowledge, and to everyone's knowledge, I would guess, knows they didn't have the tightest relationship. Or a friend of his, there's been 2 friends of his I have never met. I was with John nearly every day for 2 years. I had dated him 20 years before that. And there's some guy and an old girlfriend who I never met. This is the closest you could find to John, people who never saw John and me interact. And yet I gave you friends, I gave you people from my parish, students, colleagues, and none of it made it in. So when the documentary came out, and I can't even remember when that was, I made a concerted effort. I will not watch that. What is the point to get upset because I know what didn't make it in. And people come up to me all the time that I saw the documentary. It was, wow, what a story it told. And I can't believe what you went through. But my family and friends that saw it, no one's raved about it because they don't feel it portrayed me. But I'm not surprised I was cast in a light that is not realistic.
Yeah.
The disclaimer says Karen is in the middle of multiple pending civil lawsuits and has been advised to minimize any comments made about certain topics or people. In her criminal trials, anything she said could have been used against her, and that will probably be the case with her civil cases. So with that, we are limited in the topics we could cover with her to not put any pending litigation at risk. We hope you understand that we really wanted to ask her how someone could do certain things, testify in such a manner, etc. We were unable to. We hope to sit down with her again once she can speak more freely. The only question being, how long till then? Oh, rotten mango, the shade. We love it. We love it.
During our 4-part series on Karen Reed's case, I mean, that's over like 10 hours long. Just with the sheer amount of people that were involved, we did have to resort to coming up with nicknames or monikers, some of our own creation, some that we've adopted from social media discourse. And out of just pure habit and pure personal style, I might still be referring to some of these people with that nickname. We called Brian Higgins, Brian Haha Higgins, Michael Proctor, Michael No Nudes Proctor. That was literally just so people could have an idea of who we're talking about when we mention a name. If I do that, that is not Karen poking fun at anyone. I honestly should probably prefer that I don't use these nicknames, but I probably will throughout this episode. And on top of that, another disclaimer.
Oh my God, it's great. She's like, yeah, she's probably not going to like if I do that, but I'm probably going to do it anyway because fuck those guys.
Karen is right now involved in multiple civil lawsuits involving a ton of different people. So there might be some questions that she cannot answer legally, and that's just for legal purposes. So with that being said, what do you think happened to John O'Keefe?
John O'Keefe entered the garage or the house at 34 Fairview and much sooner than later, met his demise. Based on his injuries, it looks to me like he got into a fight and fell backwards. There was not a single pathologist in either trial that didn't say the mortal wound came from falling backwards and hitting his head. That was agreed on. He had bruises on his hands. The prosecution tried to say that those came from IVs, but I've had many IVs. I've had them in my hands. My hands never looked like that. But I dropped him off. He went up to the breezeway, and 6 a.m., I find him in a heap, missing his hat, missing his shoe, and laying there with a piece of glass in his face. So someone in that house killed John O'Keefe.
The Alberts have stated that they were asleep. And there's footage of you. There's body cam footage of you, like screaming, dash cam footage. How loud were you screaming? Because there's all these comments
Higgy totally fucking did it.
about, oh, the wind, the blizzard.
I've done research, and my understanding is that the snow can muffle sounds. I don't need to wonder if Brian Albert and Nicole Albert were awake. According to the Commonwealth's own witness, mine as well, but theirs as well, Ian Whiffen, Nicole Albert at 5 a.m. has an answered phone call from Jen McCabe. Answered and deleted.
Right.
Furthermore, Nicole Albert at 6:07 a.m. and 6:08 a.m. has 2 more phone calls, each lasting about 7 seconds, from Jen McCabe, answered and deleted. This is not conjecture. This is not my theory. This is in the data.
Right. Right. The stuff that fucking idiots just want to act like isn't true. Which Ian Whiffen even fucking like ended up saying. Yeah, the shit still shows up. Even after the update, the shit still shows up and Celebrate as deleted. Shows up at 2:27, shows up as deleted. Not only do we know that the data states that Jen McCabe spoke with Nicole Albert, her sister, and lied on the stand saying that she didn't, but we heard We listened to it closely over and over again on this very channel. Many other channels did too, where we heard the voicemail, John O'Keefe's voicemail, pick up the call. Karen Reed called John O'Keefe, was trying to call him frantically in the car while they were looking for him. Sees John O'Keefe out in the lawn, drops her phone, leaves it, doesn't bother hanging it up, leaves it. John O'Keefe's voicemail. Karen Reed's phone records John O'Keefe's voicemail, records Jen McCabe talking to 911 and then speaking to her sister, Nicole Albert. And she says something to the effect of, "Are you coming out?" We all heard it. We listened to it over and over again. And I'm trying to tell y'all, me and God, we got a cool thing. I got a nice relationship with God. It's a little unorthodox, but we got our own thing. We're happy with it. And one thing that I love about God is the way that God works sometimes. And I absolutely believe that that was his doing, that John O'Keefe's voicemail picked up that recording. Because whether or not it was used in court, we heard it, and that garnered more support for Karen.
Pour over my phone records. By the way, I had no deleted calls, no deleted Google searches. I actually didn't have any Google searches at all. But I know from the data, according to the data, unless the data is wrong, and this is Celebrite was just used to help convict Brian Walsh of murdering his wife. The same Celebrite used by law enforcement globally is telling me that Nicole Albert's phone answered a call from her sister at 5 a.m. and then two more at 6 a.m. So that would lead me to assume that Nicole Albert was awake.
Have you guys ever tried to recreate the quote-unquote butt dials?
No, because it's not possible. It's not possible. I have called people, and we jokingly, my friends and I, and my family and I, we say butt dial when we mean, like, I may be scrolling through my call log, and I accidentally activate that name and it calls. Or someone sent me their number on Instagram, and I went to press it down and copy it so then I could save it in my contacts, and it called them. And then I'll say, haha, butt dial.
Yeah.
But it wasn't an actual accidental phone call made while the phone was completely inert. That's what they're saying butt dials are. Even if you're able to inadvertently make a phone call, they're all doing it in the middle of the night. All of them. Higgins is saying he made a butt dial. Brian Albert is saying it was a butt dial.
Well, it's kind of like a butt dial.
I believe I used the word butt dials.
Well, I used a phrase that people commonly used as a butt dial.
Not just a butt dial, but a butt answer and a butt hang up on both ends. So you're saying you accidentally called him.
Oh my God.
He accidentally
ALM
answered.
gifted
He
5
accidentally hung
memberships,
up,
people.
And then you accidentally hung up. Jen McCabe said the slew of phone calls to John at 1:45 between 12:30 and 1 o'clock. She had over a dozen phone calls to John. She's claiming those were all butt dials. What are the chances these people who were together all night are engaging in, if you count them, somewhere in the neighborhood of 20 butt phone actions? Answering, dialing, hanging up.
Butt phone
They
actions.
appear, they meaning the Alberts, McCabe's, and Higgins, appear
Who's going to be in my chat with the handle butt phone actions? I know someone's going to do it.
to have kept it simple and agreed to several mantras, and just those mantras. One of them was butt dials, and the other I don't recall, or not that I recall.
I don't remember.
I don't recall.
I don't remember. I don't recall my interview.
I don't recall.
I do not recall having. I don't recall.
I don't remember.
I don't remember if I was tired.
If they were coached, it was smart. Keep it simple. Because when they start to add details to their renditions of what happened that night, they're completely inconsistent. Brian Higgins said his Jeep was parked in front of the house. He backed it up. He had a plow. He went into great detail, and he jokingly plowed some snow for Brian and Nicole to pull in, and then Matt and Jen, and then he V'd out and pulled in front of the house by the mailbox. Yet Jen McCabe didn't see the car, and she was apparently on night watch at the front door and never saw a Jeep with a plow, which is something memorable. Ryan Nagel, Ricky D'Antono, and Heather Maxon were behind me. They never saw the Jeep. So my point being, their group thought is simple, but as soon as you require details from these people, their stories are all over the place.
Right. Which all it took was the cerebral ninja and Action Jackson to tear their shit apart.
Do you think Chloe, the Albert's German Shepherd, is still alive?
This is the question I get asked the most, is what happened to the dog? And I realize I do not have a dog. I realize this is where society is a lot of us love dogs more than we love people or just as much. But I get this answer, this question constantly. I have no idea what happened to Chloe. Based on what I know, I would guess the dog is dead. I don't believe it's the dog they claim it is up in New Hampshire. We asked for proof, and all they gave was animal control vaccination records that I can literally go to animal control and get a copy of the vaccination records. And this woman in New Hampshire, who we have no address, no phone call, no phone number for, she's claiming this is the dog, this was his birthday, and this is his vaccination. Well, anybody can get that.
At what point in
Right. Like I it blew my mind when people were like, well, look, boom, Chloe's like, that's not proof at all. Like, if I'm Hank Brennan coming in, swooping in and just being like, hold my beer, Lally, you're not willing to fucking play dirty.
Well, I mean, we just get somebody to say that they have Chloe. What's so hard about that? Why don't we just get somebody to say that they have Chloe? Take Chloe's imprints or whatever of her teeth, and we'll say that it's Chloe. That's all we have to do. It's not difficult. Why didn't you do this, Lally?
I mean, I when that happened, I was like, why is this so fucking difficult? Like, how is this proof that that's Chloe? Some lady in Vermont, like nobody knows who the fuck she is, and she's got a German Shepherd. Must be Chloe. Huh? Unreal.
the investigation, did you feel like, okay, this is not an investigation into a tragic accident? I'm being framed. Like, what is there a specific moment it hits you?
So they had my phone in my car within a half hour of coming to my parents' house. So they left my parents at 4:15 on January 29th. They took my phone and they took the car. I was hoping desperately, this is a case of they've got the wrong guy. Yeah. I'm arrested on February 1st. I spend the night in a holding cell, and then I'm arraigned the next morning. I hadn't met in person David Yannetti, but I'd already engaged with him on January 29th.
Yo, Rotten Mango is the shit. This is a great, like, well-produced and well-conducted interview.
He comes to the holding cell at the courthouse in Stoughton, and he has one copy of the police report that Michael Proctor authored. He's holding the police report. Now, they're already calling my case at 9 a.m. It's like 9:10, and I don't know what I'm walking into. I don't know what they have against me. I don't know anything. David is holding the police report, and we're reading it together. They only gave him one copy. So his hands between the bars. I'm leaning in, and we're reading it quick. I don't know how I had the focus to even comprehend and read at that moment. It was like just another fight or flight. That the focus turned. This is about to be read in front of a courtroom filled with people. The first thing that stood out to me was, it said they arrived at my parents' house, Proctor and Buchnick, arrived at my parents' house at 4:30 p.m. and left at 5:30 p.m. And I knew right away that was wrong. I've lived in New England most of my life. 5:30 in the middle of January is pitch black outside. 4:30 p.m. is almost pitch black outside. And I knew when they left my house, my parents' house, it was still somewhat light outside because I remember watching the flatbed with my truck go by the front window. Mm-hmm. I knew they had gotten to the house around 3 o'clock, and I knew they weren't there for 2.5 hours. So I thought, well, maybe this is how police reports are written initially in a cursory fashion, that they're approximate times, and then we can tighten timelines later. But that always bothered me. And then every affidavit that was accompanying every seizure of evidence after that kept saying the same thing, that on January 29th, we went to the house in Dighton at 4:30, we left at 5:30. So that was the first time I thought, all right, we're dealing with very sloppy, imprecise police. That was my first inkling that this isn't completely ticked and tied. After I was released from the arraignment on February 2nd, that evening, David Yannetti called me and said he had gotten an anonymous phone call from someone saying, you need to pay attention to who lives in the house. I had not even thought about the Alberts. I not one way or the other, just that I knew that was their house and they had been with us the night before, and I had met them for the first time a week before that. So it was very early on. I've been lucky that very early on and at regular intervals since, I have been given gifts of information that helped buoy me. Yeah. I can't tell you, hearing that information from David, and so of course, as soon as David says, this anonymous caller says, look at the owner of the house, I start Googling Brian Albert. And it's within seconds, I find a Google video of him in a boxing ring beating people up, and he looks.
Right.
I've met him, but I haven't paid much attention to him. But he sounds gruff, and he's walking into some drug bust with some kind of shield and weapons, and he looked like a tough, mean guy. Mind you, though, at this time, I didn't know John's injuries in detail. When I found him, he had a cut on his nose on his left side, and he had a cut above his right eye. He had blood coming out of his nose, and his eyes were like eggs. But I didn't know if he had broken ribs or his femur was sticking out of his body, and it didn't seem to be. But I didn't know if he had internal bleeding. I didn't know until I saw the hospital photos in May how obvious it was that this body was not hit by a car or anything like a car, and this body looks like it was beaten up. So it was every couple months. So we got that tip. We didn't get much. March and April of 2022 were very tough. John was in my life so much, so thickly, and then he wasn't anymore. It was the only relationship I've had, and I've had many and I'm 45, and I've been dating since I was a teenager, that ended with such finality. I can't call him when I'm out in Boston at 1 a.m. when the bar closes like I did when I was in my 20s. I can't miss him in a few weeks and say, just thinking of you, or can I drop by and see you? I've never been forced to deal with such finality. I've never had a death that close to me. So March and April were difficult. There just wasn't anything going on. We weren't getting any police reports. I still didn't know what
police
they were
reports
using to charge me. And it was in May that they finally released the photos that were taken of him at the hospital, and then the autopsy, which two different events. And it was very obvious to me, this is not what they're claiming. There's a cracked taillight on my car, and John is pristine from the neck down, with the exception of his right arm. And coupling that, and David continued to get this anonymous tip to look at Brian Albert. Coupling those together, it gave me hope that I may be able to figure out what happened.
We saw the footage of the second arrest, which was probably one of the more shocking pieces of footage connected to your case. You had no idea that they were coming, because you're just in short pajamas and you're begging to change before they take you in. And then eventually they mock you because you beg to change. And they're like, look at how much she cares about being on TV. Have you seen the footage?
I have seen stills of it, but I've steered clear. It is very difficult for me. And I've warned my parents not to. I think my dad just watches everything, but I've warned them not to. I'm in charge of second degree murder now?
That's right.
I have no idea what this is about now.
It's about the same exact incident, okay? Where's the medication?
Can I use the ladies' room?
I understand. We're going to get
Look at Bukaki.
and they come over and retrieve any item you don't want. Yep.
I can't put...
Hold on. What about the shoe wear? What kind of footwear do you wear?
Anything, but can I... I don't even have underwear. Can I put pants on?
Again, your parents can come over here and retrieve anything. We'll get that medication for you. And
Can I put pants on, please?
Can you just step over the side, please?
Where are your pants? Look at Proctor over here, probably playing fucking pocket pool.
At the foot of my bed. Can I take a pair of sheets?
And in the meantime, let's call this people right here, all right?
Where can I put my pants on?
At the barracks.
Can I put them on before I go out of my house?
Like, what kind of detective has his hand in his pocket when somebody's in handcuffs and they're fucking supposedly a dangerous cop killer? I find that fascinating that Pooper Proctor has his hand in his pocket. She's so dangerous, right? She's a fucking cop killer, right? She's capable of anything, right? I mean, she's so fucking bold as to kill a fucking cop. She's being argumentative too. And yet you feel perfectly comfortable just chilling with your hand in your pocket. I wonder why that is. I wonder, is it because you know that she's innocent? You know she's not a threat. Unreal.
Please?
That's not part of our procedure. Once someone is
put pajamas on?
you have a chance to change. Through the barracks. Have a seat there for me. You gotta put that cord out, that lock. It's just like she's more concerned with this on TV. Yeah. I'm still recording, just so you know. Okay.
I have seen the footage from my own back.
And that's just his fucking, like, he doesn't care that he's being picked up on fucking body cam. He probably is aware when he's choosing his words, and he's like trying to justify his actions by throwing blame at her. You know, trying to justify his shitty fucking actions because he knows he's executing some bullshit fucking warrant. He knows what he's doing. And so he's trying to justify his actions like, oh, look at her. Look, she's more concerned about what she's going to wear on TV and what she's going to look like on TV. Like, no, bro. Like, you motherfuckers are going to give me a fucking perp walk, and I don't want the whole fucking world looking at my body. I want to be properly covered up. You fucking douchebags.
backyard camera after I was arrested the first time. And once I started to figure out what was happening, I was frightened. I was frightened about who was on the other side, who was on the law enforcement side that is trying to pin this on me, and who killed John that could be in my backyard right now. Yeah. And then I learned about Sandra Birchmore. I did worry. I live alone. I'm like a sitting duck. Yeah. Will I be hanging from a doorknob in my house?
Wow.
And they could easily explain it as guilt, depression over what had happened, and she just gave up. So the first 6 months of 2022 were difficult. I had not even been explained to the concept of an upcharge. My understanding was you get indicted on what you were charged for. I didn't realize that the district attorney can present anything he wants to the grand jury, and they can charge me with anything. They could have charged me with also breaking into the Albert's house and stealing their
ham sandwich
TV set while I was parked outside. I didn't realize that, and shame on me that I didn't learn that. I was trying to learn as much as I could during these months. I was reading a book every couple days just about the criminal justice system.
How do you not underestimate the nefarious possibilities of what these people are willing to go through, and what these people are willing to do? How do you not underestimate that? How do you see that shit coming? If you're not a piece of shit, how do you predict what a piece of shit is going to fucking do? And here you have a whole system that is this piece of shit trying to fuck you over and trying to fuck your life. How do you see any of that coming? Here she is sitting there going, shame on me for not fucking seeing. What do you mean, shame on you? What these people are doing is unthinkable. So how are you supposed to see that shit coming? How are you supposed to know what kind of fucking depths they're going to go to?
And defending yourself and how this works. But June 9th, I was home alone like I was most days. I would do yard work. I'd put headphones in. I'd wait for one of the lawyers to call. I had been mowing the lawn. I hadn't showered yet. I was wearing boxers, and I actually just had a tank top on. I didn't have any underwear on. And I came in from doing yard work, and I decided I was going to cook for myself. I mean, this was my catharsis. I would go outside. I tried to get sun. I did a lot of, asked my neighbors. I was out in my yard every day just trying to sweat, at least physically tire myself out so I could sleep at night. And I was cooking. I was trying to eat well. So I was making a pot of chili. I was finished.
Yeah, I mean, I'll say it again. I know in my heart what fucking happened, dude. Like I could just tell by the way that these fucking guys are, the way they carry themselves, the way I just can fucking see it. And by watching that footage from the waterfall, I'm telling you, I know it in my bones that Higgins couldn't get laid under a chicken's ass. Okay? And this dude, you could just tell that he loved Brian Albert. You could just tell that he thought Brian Albert was just the coolest dude in the world, working fugitive, and he was on TV and blah, blah, blah. So Higgy is just fucking riding Brian Albert's dick all the fucking time. And that's probably why Brian Albert keeps him around. Now, while they're in the waterfall and they're drinking and had been drinking all day, they are grab-assing. Brian Higgins is trying to like impress Brian Albert. He's like, come on, buddy, come on. Now he starts this after, and I truly believe that you can pinpoint the moment where Higgins tells Brian Albert about Karen Reed. Karen Reed walks in with John O'Keefe. Higgins says something to Brian Albert about it. His behavior starts to change. I personally believe that Brian Albert knows exactly the kind of guy Higgy is, knows exactly how Higgy looks at him, knows exactly that Higgy is trying to impress him, and he keeps him around for that reason, and he fucking uses this to entertain himself. And I believe what he did to entertain himself that night was to egg Higgy on and tell him, hey, you're such a fucking tough guy, right? You're playing grab ass with me and everything like that. Why don't you just fuck this dude up and take his girl? Why is this dude's you're sitting here telling me that this girl
You've been talking to her. You've been texting with her and shit, right? You're sitting here, you're bragging about this, but you're not going home with her, are you? Homie there. John's going home with her. You're not going home with her. You're a fucking bitch if you don't take that girl home tonight. I think you're a fucking lying piece of shit, or she just fucking used you. But whatever. Either way, you're a bitch who's not going home with her tonight. And if you're fucking tough, if you think you're fucking badass, you expect me to have any respect for you whatsoever, you're going to be fucking that girl tonight, dude. And then what happens? Higgy gets worked up. Higgy's mad. He's mad at Brian, but he doesn't have the balls to be mad at Brian, actually. So he directs his anger at John because he wants to impress Brian Albert. And he directs his anger at John. And he starts with the whole, are you coming here? Trying to lure him. And then it's just a coincidence, right? That everyone forgets that Brian Higgins' Jeep is parked out front with a plow on it. That's convenient. Everyone forgets that. And that John ends up dead within minutes of going inside that house. Within minutes. But this is all coincidence, right? All coincidence where Chris Albert, Brian Higgins is pointing fingers at John O'Keefe, saying shit. John O'Keefe hears him. You see him. And then John O'Keefe dances a little jig. Like whatever. And John O'Keefe knows about Brian Higgins and Karen. Because at one point there's text messages where John O'Keefe asks her, did you guys hook up? He knew. And whatever fucking happened, I don't know what happened with Karen, but whatever was going on from the time that they were at the waterfall, at least at some point while they were at the waterfall, and the time that John ends up dead, somewhere in that window, it was all about John and Higgy. Karen wasn't even a factor anymore. It was a man-to-man thing. This dude did me wrong. He's supposed to be my friend, and now he's acting like he wants to fucking throw hands with me over my girl. And he's thinking the same thing Brian Albert's thinking. I'm going home with her. Fuck this guy. I don't know what he's all mad about. I ain't mad about shit. So he dances a little jig, drinks his beer. But he says, yeah, let's go over there. Come on, let's go over there. He doesn't tell Karen shit. Because he knows Karen's going to go, dude, I don't want any fucking problems, blah, 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 blah. But John is like, nah, man, like, everything's all good. Like, let's go over there. Are you sure we're invited? It feels weird, blah, blah, blah. In the back of Karen's mind, because let's just be fucking realistic, people. Karen knows that having Higgy and John O'Keefe under the same roof in a private residence could be a fucking time bomb. Karen's aware of those text messages. She was fucking sending them. She was receiving them. Right? But she's like, no, this is a bad idea. I'm just going to go in there and see if everything's cool, and then I'll come back out and get you. She waits. He never comes out. She thinks he's blowing her off, probably thinking in her mind, oh, he's just going to get revenge on me and hook up with one of these women because of my dynamic with Higgy. Right? Then she takes off. She says, fuck this motherfucker. I'm out. Goes home, passes out, or goes to John's, passes out, realizes, oh shit, he hasn't come home yet. He must have hooked up with somebody. Enter the angry phone calls. Then she tries to call the women who he might have hooked up with or knew who he would have hooked up with. Right? All Karen was that night was a jealous woman, a drunk, jealous woman. Had no idea. Did not think that they would have murdered him, threw him out on the lawn. These are a bunch of cops. Why the fuck would she think that? So she's like, okay, John won't answer his phone. I'm going to call the bitch that he's been texting with this whole time. Him and Jen McCabe were the ones, she was the one giving him directions. Dude, listen, bro. You fucking retards with the fucking swinger theory is the stupidest goddamn thing I've ever fucking heard in my life. These people are not fucking swingers. Dude, let me tell you something. I've said it 100 times. People, have you looked at the McAlberts, bro? Nobody's fucking these people. They're not even fucking each other. Nobody's fucking the McAlberts, bro. Nobody is. Nobody's fucking Jill Daniels, bro. Nobody's fucking Matt McCabe. Nobody's even letting Matt McCabe watch, and he's the guy you let watch. Nobody's fucking any of these people. Stop it. Fucking stupid ass theory of the swingers. Jesus. Now, I do think that it was a certain kind of party that John probably wasn't down with. That's what I do think. Only one kind of party where everybody's staring out the window.
Yes! I like it.
That's all I'm saying.
Everything up. I had music on, and all of a sudden I hear voices, and I lower the music. I go to the front door, and my windows are open. My storm door is closed, but the screen is up, and I heard a voice say, "Let's do this in the back. There's cameras out front." I had a very clear. It wasn't a Ring doorbell. It was a higher end private security system, but there was a very visible camera over the front door. But I also had them 360 around my whole property. So I heard that voice. Let's do this around back. There's cameras out here. I see two cops. I couldn't make out who they were, but I could see them walking around by the garage of my property, which kind of requires you to go down into the driveway. The garage that's under the house, and then up a hill into my backyard. So I start shaking. I look out a window. I see.
Hey, what? Sweet tea. Is that what the kids are calling that shit now?
There's a Mansfield, town I lived in, Mansfield, Massachusetts, cruiser, and then I think two unmarked cars. Maybe there was a third, and I thought that something's happening. The first person I see, now I'm looking out the back window, I'm reaching for my cell phone. I see Michael Proctor in plain clothes walking by himself. Now he's soon to be followed by Buchnick and another state trooper, I believe, and a Mansfield cop. I think the state police have to call in local assist whenever they're in a different jurisdiction.
Well, she's out back. Outside? Yeah. There's somebody in the house. Yeah.
For a split second, I thought Michael Proctor.
Oh, why is that cop's pants so fucking tight? That's so weird.
There to hurt me. I had no idea. Why is he here? Why is he in plain clothes? Why is he at my back door, which is almost in the woods? There's no inviting path to my back door. You'd have no reason to go looking for my back door. I called David Yannetti, and it's just like a dream where you just can't dial the number, or you're trying to text and you can't get the text right.
Okay,
and
so
it's
Karen
like that in real life.
Karen said John told her what? That about Higgy?
Like your hands are shaking, and I think I dialed his number like 3 or 4 times before I finally was able to.
I still say that's why he went over there. I still say it.
Dial it correctly. And I said, David, Proctor's here. There's police here. I don't know what they're doing. And I can't remember if David told me that he had just gotten a phone call that I was indicted, or if he guessed they may have just indicted you. I knew that they were close to.
Wait, so even Karen thinks they're swingers? I'm trying to tell you, dude, Karen's wrong. They're not fucking swingers. These people are not fucking swingers, bro.
Hearing through the grapevine that people were testifying. So I can't remember exactly what David said to me.
Nobody's fucking these people.
I think I either called my dad think I called my dad, and I said, Daddy, I think I'm getting arrested again. And my poor dad, I know that was one of the worst moments of this whole thing, because we were just completely bewildered. Yeah. What now? So I take the phone. It's still dialed in. I'm connected to David.
I'm in my pajamas. I don't even have shoes on. I'm being charged with second-degree murder now?
That's correct. Ideal homicide and leaving the scene causing death and up boiling.
I walk outside. One of the first things that happens, Proctor's reading me. He's reading me my rights, and he's telling me that I've been charged with murder. And Buchnick, in the middle of all this, I'm on sensory overload. I'm trying to observe what's going on. Buchnick takes my cell phone and goes, I'll be taking that.
I see what you're saying. She just acknowledges that it's a rumor. Okay, cool.
And he puts the cell phone still connected to David Yannetti in his.
Nobody's fucking these people,
There's no
bro.
search warrant for that phone. That is not the phone I had on January 29th. They already have that phone. So they did, for some period of time, have my replacement cell phone, and who knows what they did with it. I know when they took it.
I hope you're kidding. Be happy. I hope you're kidding. It's a fight club. Really? That's what's going on. It's a fight club. And nobody talks about it. That's what's going on. Get the fuck out of here. Stop it.
There was an active line open to David Yannetti. So I know when Buchnick took the phone, there was at least an open line. So while Proctor's reading this to me, the indictment and my rights, he starts pinning my arms behind my back, and I'm trying to move away from him because I still don't understand. I've done everything. I've shown up at every hearing. I'm at my house. I haven't broken the law. I haven't driven. Why am I being arrested? I did hear the word murder, so there.
Dude, that's a life choice, bro. You guys don't understand, man, how swinging fucking works, dude. It's a fucking life choice. Like, you live that life. John, if he's a fucking swinger, he's not dating Karen, who's not. You see what I'm saying? Like, he's looking for somebody in that lifestyle. He's looking for somebody to live that lifestyle with, dude. He's surrounded by swingers. And oh, well, in Rome, that's not how that shit fucking works. That's not how that shit fucking works. Stop it. He's not a swinger. Okay, but he's hanging around a bunch of swingers and going to what might be a swinger party. Get the fuck out of my face. That's what I'm trying to tell you. The whole swinger thing is stupid. It's fucking dumb. It makes no sense. Now, I know you're not saying that he's not a swinger, but somebody said that he was surrounded by swingers and cop bunnies. Like, stop it, okay? Like, nobody is just fucking, like, John's surrounded by swingers and he's not going to know it. Like, all of a sudden he's going to be like, oh, well, what kind of party is this? You know? And then they're going to beat his ass like, you got to keep it a secret. Like, is that the theory? No, dude. Badge bunnies. Get the fuck out of my face with that shit. Dude, come on, man. Like what is, even if you're I'm just trying to wrap my head around this shit. Who's a badge bunny? Okay, like who are we talking about here? Are we talking about any of the McAlberts, the females? Like, which of them is the payoff? Like, which of these women? Sorry to say, but which of these women is incentive to be a cop for that perk? You see what I'm saying? Like, okay, badge bunnies. Ooh, that's one of the cool things about being a cop is the badge bunnies. These are the badge bunnies. These are the badge bunnies. The McAlbert women are the badge bunnies. Thanks, but no thanks. I think I'm going to go fight fire. You know what I mean? Like, I'm good. I'm going to take my chances with fucking torched homes and fucking burning buildings, bro. I'm taking my chances. Irish four-face.
There's gears grinding in my head that something's gotten worse here. So he's trying to pin my arms and cuff me, and I'm trying to move away from him. And at the same time, I'm saying to him, now, I haven't heard the tape, but my recollection is I'm saying to him, can I please have some clothes? I'm not even wearing underwear. Yeah. I've had a colostomy bag at 4 different periods in my life. So leaving anywhere without pants or underwear or certain materials that I need is of the utmost embarrassment. And Proctor knows this. He said, I did see a clip of him saying she's worried what, because I think it was on TV.
Yes.
He said she's worried what she looks like for the cameras. All she can think about is the cameras.
He says, you see how crazy she is. She is more concerned about how she looks on TV.
She's more concerned what she looks like on TV. Yeah.
More of Proctor misrepresenting everything, including that. First of all, the only reason cameras were there.
Tom, I don't even want to know what that means, dude. I don't even want to fucking know.
Is because the district attorney or the state police called cameras. I arrived at the state police barracks an hour later and they were all there. I was escorted from the barracks the next morning for my arraignment and they were all there and they were all at the courthouse. So the only reason cameras are involved is because you're parading me and trying to make a case out of this. You're trying to show me looking this way like a criminal, and that's why you called the cameras in. But I should be allowed to put pants on or shoes. So Buchnick goes into my house. I see him on my own home surveillance system. He's in my house for about 10 minutes. I told him where my closet was, where the room was. I have a bunch of suits. I was a professional wearing suits and professional attire my whole career. I have a closet filled with these clothes, and I directed him to that closet. He instead goes to the barracks with a pair of flip-flops. I don't know where he found them from. My Havaianas that I wear to the beach, and ripped jeans that I had just taken off.
I am sorry for laughing at this. It's just that, like, when I see, like, I see two women who are just appalled because Karen's like so mad. She's like, I told him where there's a closet full of professional suits and clothing, and they're like, I don't even know where he got these horrendous flip-flops from. And the host is going, oh, like it's a complete and utter fucking travesty, like a total fucking crime or like a fucking fashion tragedy that fucking, oh my God, not the fucking flip-flops. Oh, it's just so funny to me. And I've been seeing so many posts about it. Like they're quoting her like, oh my God, ripped jeans and flip-flops. Like, okay, man. All right. You know, like, okay, if he would have came out with like, I don't know, like a fucking negligee or something, like I would have been like, Jesus, what the fuck is wrong with these people? But you know, sure. Like I acknowledge the fact that it was probably passive aggressive on Bukkake's part to get flip-flops and a fucking and ripped jeans. But he was probably, I mean, I don't want to give Bukkake any credit, but maybe he was thinking in terms of comfort. Maybe he's like, we're framing this poor lady, bro. Maybe she deserves to be fucking comfortable, you know? But no, I fuck all that. He was just doing it to be a dick. But it's just so funny that this is like acknowledged as like, I mean, planting taillight evidence, man. That's some fucking bullshit. It pissed me off, blah, blah, blah. And then it's like, and I told Bukkake where the fucking my closet was with suits because I'm a professional. And he comes out with flip-flops and ripped jeans, and this woman is like, oh. It's very funny to me. It's very funny to me that this is made out to be like the worst fucking thing that they did.
Mowing my lawn. They had holes. They
like
didn't cover my ankles. Dude. I would never wear had found them from. I had him to that closet wearing suit. I told him where my closet was, where the room was. I have a bunch of suits.
I love her reaction. Watch.
Professional wearing suits and professional attire my whole career. I have a closet filled with these clothes, and I directed him to that closet. He instead goes to the barracks with a pair of flip-flops. I don't know where he found them from. My Havaianas that I wear to the beach, and ripped.
She like looked at her producers and shit like, what the you believe this shit? Not the fucking flip-flops. Fuck.
Ripped jeans that I had just taken off from mowing my lawn. They had holes. They didn't cover my ankles. I would never wear these jeans. The grass stains.
All right, here's all our medication and shoe wear that she wants. I'm gonna turn off my camera here.
I can't remember if they gave me the clothes to wear that night in the cell or if he gave them to me before I went to court in the morning. A girlfriend of mine came to the barracks in the middle of the night.
Like, and I know, like, if if I had like Annie on panel with me right now, Annie would be like, "You don't get it, dude." Like, and even Cherry would even be like, "Dude, the shoes, like you fuck the comfort. Like, that's some bullshit that he didn't let me get my fucking shoes. He brought out fucking flip flops. The fucking balls of this guy to fucking have me wearing flip flops on TV. Some fucking bullshit." Like every woman I know that I consider like one of my dearest friends would absolutely be defending them and be like laughing at me going, "Dude, you don't get it, bro." Like here I am thinking this shit is fucking hilarious.
Court clothes with black pants, a black top, and black shoes. And they would not allow me to put those clothes on for court. So I heard her come in. I was in a cell. And she said, "Can I give these for Karen for the morning?" And they said something to her like, we can't guarantee that, but we'll take them. They gave them to me at some point the next day. They didn't allow me to put them on. Instead, they forced me to take the bag of clothes
I get it.
Buchnick had secured, which was ripped jeans and flip-flops. That night.
But I mean, the thing is like nobody, dude. When you get arraigned, I mean, nobody looks at their best when they get fucking arraigned, dude. You know, nobody does. It doesn't mean that they're going to go to jail because they look like shit at their arraignment. You know what I mean?
Was one of the worst nights of my life in the past 4 years because I called David from jail and he was worried. He was not able to tell me anything to allay my fright. I mean, it's not concern, it was fright. And he said, "They've upcharged you with murder. I don't know how they're able to do that, on what evidence, but they've increased the charges. They want to keep you locked up now through trial, through verdict. But if we're asking for bail, they're requesting $1 million, which of course I did not have." So I spent the night knowing that I've got to go before a judge tomorrow. I didn't know what judge it would be. And I have to hope they lower this bail, that they allow me to vote, that a judge can deny you bail altogether, that you're a danger to society, you've been indicted for murder, you're not going home.
Yeah, like
There are active lawsuits.
that's some bullshit. That is absolutely some bullshit right there. That they didn't at least get a clean pair of underwear.
It's between you and Michael Proctor, amongst others. You know, so there's some things that you can't say, but there are things that are indisputable. So Michael Proctor himself has admitted that he has texted people in group chats. He texted that he hasn't found your nudes yet. He talked about and made fun of your medical condition, saying, quote, "She's got a leaky balloon knot. It leaks poo," calling you a, quote, "whack job cunt," and then basically saying you are a babe with no ass.
She's got a leaky balloon knot.
You followed that up with the phrase "leaks poo," didn't you?
I did. Yeah, she's a babe. Weird Fall River accent, though. No ass.
When did you first find out about these text messages? What was going on in your mind?
I knew there were vile text messages. They were under a federal protective order. They were first encountered by my team, by my lawyers in February of 2024, just before the first trial. I was not able to view these text messages. I just knew the generals, that they existed, and I knew they were involved in the cross-examination prep, which I was very involved in.
To have him, Michael Proctor himself, on the stand reading out what he sent, what's going on in your mind?
Yeah, there had been some leaks on Twitter that I saw an account, we called her a big, which I assumed someone like him uses language like that anyway. I knew in general that they were vile, but when he read them, I was actually annoyed that Adam Lally preempted us bringing these messages out in cross-examination. That should have been our moment. He's your lead detective. You're letting him lay this case out. This is showing bias. And Adam Lally, and you always run into this issue with trial, that if the evidence has already come out, you risk the judge saying, "Mr. Jackson, Mr. Yannetti, that's already been asked and answered." So there was this worry that Lally is going to let Proctor read the text messages with very flat affect. And he did. You could barely understand. She's a babe with no ass. She has a leaky balloon on. And next question, it was by design. Let's get him out there and preempt.
But I got the impression that they were prepared that he was going to do that. I always got that. I mean, because Alan Jackson handled that shit amazingly. Like, Alan Jackson handled that shit like a fucking boss. You know what I mean? Like, it didn't matter that Lally allowed him to do that. As a matter of fact, the way that Alan Jackson executed his cross-examination of Proctor was like, it was almost as if his direct examination, his direct testimony added to AJ's effect that he was going for with these cross-examination. That's what it came off as to me. Like the fact that he was trying to underplay it and play it all somber and try to get in front of it. AJ was like, nah, dude, you think you're just going to get off of that shit like that quick, that easy? No, dude. I want to make sure this jury knows that you're a fucking shitbag and how I feel about it.
The defense from getting it out there. Luckily, we were still allowed, and we made the biggest moment of it. I cared more about his lies. What he said about me and my anatomy, it's disgusting, but it did not embarrass me. Michael Proctor does not have the ability to embarrass me. In fact,
he embarrassed himself.
I have all that I have in my life right now, and the love and support and new endeavors such as this and meeting people like you, ironically, because of Michael Proctor and what he tried to do to me. Joking about my apple. I mean, I don't even want to say it was a joke. He was talking about my rectum and that I've had rectal surgery. That this is a father of children, of boys, scarily. This is a husband of a woman, someone's son. This is a cop with power and carrying a gun and my age, more or less. And this is what this is his vernacular, a balloon knot and talking about my rectum. You're not embarrassing me. You're embarrassing yourself. And my medical issues, I've never been embarrassed by. I've struggled to deal with them in society and in intimate situations. But I'm proud of what I've had to deal with. And the more I talk to people and the older I grow, I know everyone's got something. No one's escaping completely in one piece as we age. I cared more about his lies, him lying so blatantly. Every search warrant, 9 of them, took the car at 5:30, Why? Because the CERT team, and this was another major lamppost in 2022 for me, was when I was finally indicted after the awful experience of June 9th into June 10th. The floodgates opened and now we get all the discovery. And a cousin of mine who's an attorney, we agreed we'd get the discovery, which was thousands and thousands of pages. And we attacked it from, I think she went from the beginning to the middle and I went from the end to the middle. And she's a lobbyist. She was working full time, but every night she went home. I worked on it all day. She worked on it all night. And she called me one night. This isn't about July. So I've been indicted now and upcharged for a month and we're working our way through our discovery. I don't know what day, I would be guessing, but it was like a Thursday, a weeknight. She calls me at about 10 or 11 and she said, Karen, read the CERT report. This is the Crime Scene Services search team. It's an 8.5 by 11 piece of paper. And there's a whole box for a narrative about the evidence that was found at 34 Fairview. And there's only 4 lines that I needed glasses to read what they said. And it was that the first pieces of red and clear lens were found at 34 Fairview. I can't remember if the report said 5:45 or 6 p.m. And then all of a sudden it was, my light was not there all day long because that was something I could not reconcile for months and months in 2022. But how did my taillight get there? How did they somehow find pieces of it broken at John's house from when I hit John's car at 5 a.m? And were they able to transport those? That's the only thing I could figure out. And I still didn't have an answer as to why he lied about taking my car at 5:30 when he actually took it and left at 4:15. And it was that night in July. The CERT team did not find taillight until after Proctor had the taillight. And he had to get himself out of Canton at 5:45. If he's in Dighton at 5:30 in a blizzard, 35 miles from Canton, there's no way he can be in Canton with the Lexus and the Lexus's red taillight at 5:45. And it was just the biggest eureka of more than the text messages, more than the butt dials, more than the phone and the SIM card cut up at the Air Force Base. To me, it was the cornerstone because it just bothered me. I just couldn't reconcile how did my taillight get there. I know I did not break my taillight at 35. I tried to think of every scenario in which I could have, and none of it was reasonable. And then I realized that moment it was placed there after they had access to it.
And the inverted footage.
And the inverted footage. I mean, inverted footage didn't come for 2 more years. But when Proctor was on the stand reading the messages,
He's a whack job. See you.
Objection. So don't spell it. You have to. So these are your words, Trooper Proctor?
Yes, Your Honor.
Go ahead and say them.
I love that this was reenacted in the Lifetime movie, and that I venture to say that was the first time that the word cunt was used in a Lifetime movie. I would venture to guess that. I love that they did that. I love it.
Yeah, she's a babe. Weird Fall River accent, though. Go.
I'm going through his client's phone right now, correct?
Yes, after the picture, sir, yes.
Who's the client?
I was referring to Miss Reed.
He also called her retarded, correct?
That is what's written.
And that's what you read.
I have no memory of reading that. I acknowledged him going through the phone on my Apple Watch. I have no memory of him writing retarded on a text message.
Did you encourage that statement by Michael Proctor by liking it with a thumbs up?
I don't know if it encouraged him, but so I cannot speak
But
to
that's
that.
what you did.
I acknowledged the text message being sent.
How close did you?
No, that's encouragement. That's encouragement. You gave it a thumbs up. Thumbs up means, hey, keep those shitty text messages coming, buddy. That's what thumbs up says. Hey, keep that unprofessionalism coming.
Remain in contact with Michael Proctor after high school.
Very close. Could you read all of them, please?
These are not my words. I'm not really comfortable reading these. Do I have to say these words out loud?
I'll say the words, and I'm going to ask you if I'm reading accurately. Is that better?
Yes.
11 p.m., 5
I'll
minutes,
take the
57
word.
seconds. Mr. Proctor says, from all accounts, he didn't do a thing wrong. She's a whack job, and then uses the C word to describe. Is that accurate?
That's accurate.
At the bottom, from one member in the group stating, oh, she's skating.
Yes.
Mr. Proctor responds, 0 chance she's skated. She's effed. She's fucked.
Yes.
And then one person in the group says, no ass bitch. Accurate?
Yes, that's accurate.
Mr. Proctor, there's a response, laughed at, quote, no ass bitch.
Yes.
Somebody in the group says, is that chick a smoke? And then the same person follows up with a question mark. Accurate?
Accurate.
Mr. Proctor responds, E-H.
Yes.
Nutbag, as my chief would say.
Yes.
She's got a leaky balloon knot.
Yes.
Leaks poo.
Yes.
Are those the words of Mr. Proctor?
They are.
Did I read those accurately?
You did.
But you're still friends with him?
I am.
He could be a pig and I could still be guilty. That's why I wanted the focus of the jury to be on Proctor's lies and the actual framing and how was this orchestrated and not on the fact.
Yeah, but that did happen. You know, like they tried that shit, but it didn't fly. You know what I mean? At the end of the day, they tried that shit, but it didn't fly.
That this man.
But I can see why it frustrated her as much as it did. But I mean, at the end of the day, it worked out.
Vile pig who talks about people's rectums. You could still have a guilty woman and just a very unprofessional investigator. I cared much more about the lies that enabled him to pull off what he pulled off. And the text messages were just, I just spent my energy assuring my parents that do not feel bad for me. This man does not have that power over me. Anyone who looks at me differently because some stranger who's never seen me naked is going to talk about my anatomy. Anyone who finds that entertaining or is going to judge me for it isn't anybody I want in my life anyway.
Yeah. During the trial, you're sitting there, the witnesses are going up onto the stand, they're testifying. They're like, Karen did this, Karen said this. How do you not go up and testify? Do you not have the urge to be like, no, let me tell you?
I did have the urge, and I tried to quell that and to satiate it by doing the documentary so that I could go back to the hotel at night and be interviewed. The judge was appearing to be so much more lenient with her rulings with the prosecution than she was with us. I mean, we had to fight for everything. And it seemed to be a one-way street that there was a worry if I testified, the prosecutor, especially Brennan, he seemed to be given even more latitude than Lally was. He did this with our witnesses. He was putting words in their mouths in his questions of those witnesses.
Okay, I'm gonna have to stop this here, folks. Now I'll if people want, I mean, I'm halfway through this. I'll do a part 2, go over this again tomorrow. But I've got a petty stream scheduled in less than 15 minutes. In less than 10 minutes. So, well, less than 15 minutes. And I've got to get that started. Or I got to get ready for that. I got to let Clubber out and, so I will go over this interview again tomorrow. Before you go, please make sure to give God damn it. Hold on. There we go. God. There we go. Give Rotten Mango a like on this very well done interview. Amazing. And make sure to subscribe to Rotten Mango if you're not already. I know I'm subscribed to her now. Because this is, yeah, definitely I'm a new fan. So, and Katie, thank you so much for becoming a member. I appreciate it. But yeah, people, I'm going to end this stream and then I'm going to start the petty stream. It'll be public at first. because I want to force people to become members. Okay. I have to go public so that I can force people to become members so that you can catch the petty. Kim's Ladybug, thank you for forcing people to become members along with me. I appreciate it. Ten people have been forced. Thank you, Kim is Ladybug. Appreciate it. So yeah, we're gonna have some fun. Guys, you guys are absolutely fantastic. I appreciate you. Remember, it only takes a second to stay safe. I love you guys very much, and we will do this again very soon, my friends.
Watch out!
Today, being retarded means leading a full life. Retarded people go to work or school, just like their neighbors, and come back to a real home. A supervised home, right in the neighborhood, where they belong. Being retarded never stopped anyone from being a good neighbor.